Our next guest, 86-year-old Janet, was caring for her husband, a dementia sufferer, when she received a phone call that would change her life forever.
The person on the line claimed to be a police officer, and what followed was a very sophisticated scam, leading Janet unknowingly to handing over £43,000 to fraudsters.
Janet joins us now to share her story alongside her son, Joel, and Elaine Crate from the Senior Fraud Manager at Hertfordshire Police. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for coming. Janet, firstly, we're so sorry that you've had to go through this, but incredibly proud of you for feeling confident enough to come and tell your story, because I know it's not easy.
No.
Take us back to that phone call you got. It was sort of April, I think, last year, wasn't it?
April the 14th. He called for 3 days, over a period of 3 days consecutively, 10:15 and 1 o'clock. He said he was calling me from Hammersmith Police Station to tell me that my card had been... Somebody attempted to use my card the previous night at midnight to buy £94.72 worth of petrol, and from there they went to an Argos all-night store to try to buy furniture. But I was very lucky because my card somehow or the other would refused, and he didn't get away with that. After that, he said that the next phone call was the lunchtime the following day. He said that our bank account had been compromised and that £38,000 had been taken out and finished up being deposited in a bank in Germany. But he said that our bank had red flagged it, and that was where the police came on the scene, and they had managed to get our money back for us, and I wasn't to worry because it was in our bank account. At that point, he said, I suppose I ought to introduce myself, and I'm DC Harris, and I'm working with the fraud unit at Hammersmith Police Station, because that's where they do all the main fraud inquiries. And he said, we've got to... I'm going to tell you 2 names, and he gave me the 2 names, John Willocks and Derek Okalangu. Did I know these people? I said, no, I'd never heard of them. He said, well, they are part of a crime gang. They are targeting St Albans. They are targeting particularly vulnerable people like yourself. So I said, well, I've never heard of them. He said, well, we've got to try and find a way to catch these people. Actually, he said, they are in custody, these 2. But he said, we do feel that there is a 3rd accomplice, and we've got to try to trap this person. I said, right. He mentioned that second day that they were advising people to buy goods that were redeemable afterwards. So I said, oh. So he said, how would you feel about buying jewellery? Well, I had to give a wry smile. My husband had a friend that was a jeweller. So,
really?
So the last thing in the world I needed was jewellery. But I said, well, what do you mean? How do you go about it? Previous to that, I had said, no, listen to me. I don't know who you are. I said, I know who you say you are, but you could be Uncle Tom Cobley or Doctor Who for all I know. Yes, he said, well, I tell you what we're going to do. When I finish speaking to you, you dial 999. We went through this charade of dialing 999, the operator answer you, you say you're speaking to DC Harris at
Hammersmith.
And if they could reconnect you, he said, she should ask you for my badge number, which I'm going to give you now. So he gave me the badge number. I gave the badge number to the operator, and she then...
Reconnected you?
Reconnected me to him.
Yes.
So I mean, it's extraordinary, the detail of this, and your retention of the detail is mesmerising.
You're amazing.
But we can already see how sophisticated this whole thing was. But just going back to that, Janet, so you supposedly called 999, you spoke to the operator, thinking you were actually talking to a police operator, but you hadn't actually disconnected on the landline, had you? So he was in control of that whole part of it.
They'd hooked up my phone. And also, in the interim time, of course, he said, have you got a mobile? I said, oh, yes. I said, I don't use it, though. It's horrible. Well, we had the mobile thing, and he then rang me on the mobile, and he hooked up the mobile so I couldn't use the mobile to make an outgoing call.
So
and
somehow
he kept that line open all of the time. He spoke to me every time he spoke to me. All the time I was driving into town with my husband by my side. The phone was there.
Because the advice was that they suggested, in order to protect your bank account,
yes,
to go and buy some watches.
That's right. He said, have you heard of Rolex watches? I said, everybody's heard of Rolex watches. You don't buy them, though. Oh, well, he said, if you... did I know this particular jeweller's? Well, I'm a local girl, so I said, yes, I did. So he said, well, if you go down there, he said, have a look at their latest model. He said, and then find one that's a bit cheaper. He said that should come up to about £43,000.
Which was your life savings? That's what you had in the bank?
That was our dual life-saving account.
Yeah.
I have my own account at Barclays and David has his own account at NatWest.
Yeah.
But this was a savings account within Santander.
So you had to go to the bank and withdraw the money?
Yes. And we had to go and look at the watches first, which were amazing, you can imagine.
Yeah.
Then we made our way to the bank, and he did impress upon me that before you leave the jewellers, you must get their banker's details, so that when you get to the bank, the bank can make out the details for the money for the watches. So I said, oh, all right, OK. It's very difficult to get my husband about. He can't walk very well now.
Not very well.
But nevertheless, we went to the bank, and I said, it was extraordinary. When do you ever walk in a bank or a post office and there's not a queue? There was nobody in there, no other clients, no...
Just one of those quiet days.
Yeah.
No bank personnel walking around with a piece of paper in their hand like they normally are. No meter and greeter, no, nothing. So we walked up to the counter. The young man that served me was there on the left. He was in garb, in uniform. There was a man older on the right in a navy blue suit. But as we approached the counter, he disappeared and we never saw him again. We only ever saw...
The person behind the cashier, essentially.
Yes.
So then you withdrew the money, you went to Rolex,
yes,
you purchased the exact models that were requested.
Yes.
You brought them back to your house, and then when you had them at your house, they sent a courier.
That's right. That's right. I got back to the car. I had to take my husband back to the car first because he couldn't walk any further.
Yeah.
Collected the watches. The young junior chap from the jewellers, the manager sent him with me because it's market day. He said, you can't take those through the market. They put them in a Tesco bag and a Marks and Spencer's bag, very old worn bags, so that people wouldn't recognise them.
To look a little ordinary,
I said thank you. I got in the car, and the scammer said to me on my mobile, are you in the car now, Janet? I said, yes. He said, have you got the watches? I said, yes. He said, I expect you'd like to go home now, wouldn't you? I said, well, I need to because of my husband. I said, we've got an insulin injection to do now. I said, well, we must go home. So he said, I'll speak to you when you get home then. So we motored home, came in, kettle on, insulin injection. He was on the phone. And I thought, I haven't prepared any vegetables yet. I haven't got any dinner yet. I haven't done this now.
It's a very busy day. A very busy day.
So the long and the short of it is, because we could listen to you all day, and I think you could talk all day, which is wonderful.
We could just sit over there and we could stay for the rest of the show.
Told you I could talk for a
minute. I love it.
But I mean, the awful thing is, they sent this courier to collect the watches.
He had everything off pat. There was no way that he was going to let you off. So I would say to anybody else, you've got to think who you are. You've got to think what you would say, what you're prepared to do. And
when did you realise, though, Janet, that all of this had been a scam and that the watches had been taken and stolen by these scammers?
Not until he sent the courier, because, of course, he wanted me to go to Hammersmith, and I said, absolutely no way. The young boy came. He was only a juvenile.
So there's another person that's part of this scam, clearly.
Yes,
a young lad involved.
But he never spoke. No. He came to the front door and the scammer said to me, can you give him the watches now, but I'd like to speak to him. And he had a few words with the youngster, gave him the watches, and off they went. Well, then, of course, I came back in and dinner was on the go and all of this. And then all of a sudden, I there was nobody on the phone, and I didn't have anything else to think of except what we were doing. And I thought, oh, wait a minute.
What have I done?
Yeah, I haven't got my money. I haven't got the watches. The enormity of it it just fills you up, and I just went numb. I couldn't think, and then I thought, don't be so stupid. This wouldn't happen. This is all right. He'll be on the phone in a minute, telling you about he's got the watches and etc. etc. What's the next step we do?
Yes.
But of course, no telephone call came.
No.
And you at that point, you just don't know what to do, except what you've got to do, which is what I had to do with my husband. When you're a carer, that person comes first.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you've got to do what you've got to do.
Of course you do. And Joel, then you found out about it as well. How did you feel? Because obviously Janet has been completely bamboozled by this situation, but remembers she's so incredibly bright and articulate and remembers everything about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just devastating on all counts, really. And you know what I think's worse is, you know, Mum feels stupid in all of this, and
she didn't feel that, Janet.
That's, I guess, a natural reaction to why did I do this? How could I have been conned in this way? But the scammer was so convincing, pretending to be a police officer. You know,
it was so intricate as well. There's so many people
And when
involved.
I challenged him the second time, and I said, look, I'm very uneasy about this. I said, you want me to go to the bank, take out our money, where to all intents and purposes it's safe? And he said to me, but it's not safe, is it, Mrs Day? Because we told you had £38,000 deposited in Germany.
Oh,
and I thought, oh, no.
Elaine, you're part of the Senior Fraud team at Hertfordshire Police,
Yes.
which is where Janet lives. It's a heartbreaking tale to hear someone as bright and as switched on and as eloquent as Kat says, as Janet, being scammed in such a sophisticated way.
Absolutely. I speak to thousands of, I hate to use the word victims, but victims of fraud. Hertfordshire Police, we have a bespoke fraud hub set up to, you know, contact anyone who has been scammed. And I met Janet last year, and I'm privileged to have been part of her journey, but it's absolutely devastating. These scams are so elaborate. I always call them lazy burglars. They don't have to climb through a window. They can, you know, I get animated with my hands, get very excited about fraud, but they can, you know, make that phone call, trick you. It's absolutely devastating. So we're with Janet to get her through this, and we'll be with her right to the very end. Yeah.
So do you have any really clear advice for anybody sitting at home who's watching this and going, well, Janet's so bright, and she was conned by it.
Yeah.
What would be your advice?
Number one, massive red flag. The police, please, whoever's kind of watching this, the police would never, ever ask you to, you know, engage in an undercover operation. There's a problem with your bank account. They'd never ask you for your PIN number. They just don't operate like that. That's the same for banks as well. Anybody calling asking for personal information. They're actors. They play their part very well, and they're very convincing. I would suggest screen your calls. If you were to receive a telephone call and you do answer your call, answer your telephone and somebody's speaking to you, and they ask you to call back to 999 or call the bank back or whatever, then I would call the genuine bank or the 101 999 from another device if you have it. If you don't have another device, to make sure that that line has been cleared and they're not still on there, I'd pick up the phone, I'd dial a trusted friend. When you hear their name, then basically you know that line has been cleared. But just take 5 minutes, step back and think, right, look at it as if a stranger was coming up to you in the street and I was to come up to you and say, can I have a look in your wallet or your purse? You'd say no. Treat every phone call like that. Why do you want to know? Who are you? They're a stranger, you don't know them. But they're very convincing.
Yeah.
And like Janet said, you know, the amount of victims I've spoken to, they have shame, they're embarrassed, they don't know who to turn to. And, you know, we're here to support Janet, you know, through everything. We have, like, a bespoke... We're not here as, like, an investigation point of view, but we're here to empower victims to know they can approach the bank to say, look, can you have a look at this? You know, we've helped victims, and to date, we've just under 5 million recovered just through empowering victims to approach banks.
So,
really important.
sadly for Janet, the Ombudsman has ruled that she can't claim the money back, or the bank don't have to give her the money back. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what you made of that ruling.
Well, obviously, you know, I'm not here to be disrespectful to any banking organisation or the Financial Ombudsman. What I would say, after speaking to thousands of victims since the fraud hub was established in 2019, with the evidence, you know, that Janet has provided, what's happened to her, walking into a bank with her husband, who sadly has dementia, on one hand, the scammers on the telephone in there, withdrawing a lot of money, that's unusual transactions, watch scams are prevalent. For me, basically, I think a red flag should have gone up there.
So Santander have said, we have every sympathy for the customer targeted by criminals who carry out these scams. Our investigation decision was not to refund Mrs Day, which the Financial Ombudsman Service agreed with, found that the transaction Mrs Day made on her Santander account was sent to genuine business and the watches were received as expected. And the Ombudsman said, being the victim of fraud or scam can be deeply distressing. Our decisions are based on several factors, including the evidence brought to us by both consumers and businesses, the relevant law or regulation that applied at the time. I wonder how you feel about it, though, Janet?
I feel very unhappy about it. I feel that I was made a victim by the scammer, I was made a victim by the bank, and I feel as though I'm a victim by the Ombudsman. I don't understand why the Ombudsman's report says he's satisfied that the bank did everything possible to avoid this, but the bank did nothing. There was nobody in the bank, only the young chap that went and activated the banker's remission. How can I prove that? There wasn't anybody there. So what investigation? Who said what? We don't know. We haven't been privileged.
Well, they'll argue they've been through the process, they've listened to all the evidence, and that's what they've come up with, which, sadly, is the way it is. The most important thing for our viewers, though, Janet, if you've been brave enough to come and share your story.
Absolutely.
So even if it helps one person listen to what Jane has said, and think about that. If someone phones, put the phone down, but try phoning someone else on another call, speak to your son and say, what do you think of this? Or speak to somebody.
Give yourself some time. That's what Alice Beer always says about any scam. Just give yourself...
Get a call blocker. Forget the socks for Christmas. Get a call blocker. That's amazing. You know, put them on there. Family can have the codes to get through, and basically you've got peace of mind if you've got elderly family, not just elderly, but anyone. You've got peace of mind. They're safe and secure.
Thank you.
Just
It's an amazing number of calls that are abortive, Joel, aren't there?
Yeah, so we have got a call blocker system that the victim support installed for us immediately after the event, and in the last 12 months, 67% of incoming calls are scam or unknown withheld.
67% shows how important they can be. Thank you for coming
on and drawing attention to it.
If you've been affected by any of the issues that we've been discussing today, and the help and guidance is available on
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
They're made in Chelsea style. Louise Thompson spent years on the covers of plenty of health magazines.
But everything changed in 2021 when the birth of her beautiful baby boy, Leo, took a devastating turn.
Yeah, Louise suffered a traumatic labour that triggered a chain of catastrophic health problems, including almost losing her life twice.
As she bravely opens up about her experience in her best-selling book, Lucky, here it is. Louise is joining us now. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Good morning. Lovely to have you here on the sofa. As I was reading this, quite often within medicine and human beings, things go wrong. Obviously, we're just human beings, and, you know, medical staff don't always get it right. But the catalogue of events that happened and the catalogue of things that went wrong to you, I don't know how you're sitting here describing it and how you write about it so eloquently.
Well, thank you. And I do feel very lucky to still be here.
Yeah.
Because there really was such a horrendous cascade of events, you know, taking it right back to the beginning. And as you say, I was one of the healthiest people I knew. I'd done the cover of Women's Health twice. It was my bread and butter, you know. I lived and breathed fitness. And I'd never really stepped foot into a hospital before. And then, yes, I gave birth to my son 3.5 years ago, and my world was literally turned upside down. I knew, you know, I think women know their bodies, and we have this intuition. And I really knew that the childbirth thing wasn't going to be a walk in the park for me. I have a very small body, my partner's very big, and I did have some anxiety around that. And I kept trying to advocate for myself, to speak up, to say, I really want to have a planned C-section. I'd been involved in a nasty house fire before giving birth, about a month out. And I wasn't feeling well. Like, it's tough. Like, childbirth is incredibly tough. And being pregnant is very tough for women. We go through a lot. And I just felt like I wasn't listened to, and I had to jump through a lot of hoops, and there wasn't a great, level of continuity of care. And so I was just met with a lot of resistance. And then I kind of succumbed to my fate, and I ended up not being able to deliver my baby naturally, and I ended up in theatre. And I think one of the most horrendous things about this whole experience, which is what has left me with a lot of lasting damage that I talk a lot about in the book, with all of the PTSD and also suffering with, horrendous anxiety that's sort of brought into that, and depression too, was having to witness 3.5 hours of surgery awake.
Yeah.
I just wish that I had been put to sleep.
Yeah.
Because sadly, I've had to have subsequent emergency surgeries, and, it was only a week after I was then discharged home following that surgery without much of an explanation as to what had happened. I mean, it's a lot to process.
Yes, yes.
And then I had a massive obstetric hemorrhage 2 days later.
Which was the second one you'd actually had.
Yes. So in the original surgery, I lost 3.5 litres, and then in the second, I lost 5.5 litres, which is a lot. I mean, I probably only have about 5 litres of blood in my body, given my weight. And it just, it's crazy how long it can take to actually process all of it. But the book, for me, has been a big part of that. And there were times early on when I found myself, when I was finally discharged from hospital after spending a large chunk of time there, where I couldn't really function. I couldn't connect with my son. And I just didn't recognise my life. And writing, for me, was such a kind of cathartic process. And it was the only way I could communicate with people, really.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, hearing you talk about what you have been through, there's a sort of irony to the fact that the book's called Lucky. Because he sounds anything but lucky. And I love the story about why you've called it Lucky. And actually that you're starting to appreciate the value of where you are and that you have Leo now, and your life is still going, and what you've been through, that maybe you do feel a bit lucky finally.
I do. And, I've spent a bunch of time in hospital, and there are definitely people that are much less lucky than me. And I do feel really privileged to have come out the other side. I have my working brain again. I can think straight. I've got an amazing relationship with my son. And so there are loads of hopeful messages in the book. I kind of go through the whole thing of I felt like I lost a lot of my old self, especially during those first couple of years throughout the recovery. And I've gradually been piecing the jigsaw back together, making sense of everything. And now, it was, someone that I mentioned in the book, this guy, when we finally managed to get away on holiday. And this guy said, I sort of was just making almost a joke of everything that happened to me. And he was like, wow, you're really lucky. And if anyone had said that to me even 6 months prior, I would have been actually quite upset. I was like, gosh, it completely reframed it in my head. I live in this country, I live close to a hospital, and I've had access to some incredible care and met some incredible people along the way. And it's opened my eyes. My perspective on life is very different now. It's not the way that you want to have to learn those lessons about life, but yeah.
But I guess you do very much start to seize the day and appreciate friends and appreciate family. And I know that Leo is just gorgeous, and I'm guessing how much you absolutely love him now that you've got the PTSD under control, because that was one of the biggest things. And what I found so sad about the book was you managed to cope with all the physical stuff, and then mentally that took over, and little Leo was this living, breathing incarnation of reminding you of these terrible things.
Exactly that. I mean, it was awful that he was re-traumatising me when I was at home and I was sort of in the same space as him, under the same roof. I just have memories now of... So a lot of it is a blur because your brain just tries to shut it out. But I have memories of just holding him and looking up, and as he was crying, and I would just look up at the sky, and honestly, I would just pray. And I'd go, take all of this pain away, like this mental and physical torture. But yeah, the mental stuff was a lot worse than, physical you can you can often fix a physical problem. You can diagnose a physical problem a lot more easily, but it was the mental torture that was really hard to grapple with, because you can't go in and get treated.
You can't fix it.
You can't fix it. So, there are medications, and I did an awful lot of therapy, and I was considering going to a mother and baby unit and going to other facilities, but I think that would have just prolonged the recovery, because if I'd stepped away from my son, I might have got better on my own, like in my own kind of cold, dark, private cell, and then going back.
You've had great support from Ryan too, I think, as well.
I feel very, very grateful to have a partner.
Yeah.
We spoke to the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital because obviously you've been through this catalogue of things, and this is what they said: the health and well-being of those in our care is an absolute priority. It's right that we recognise when this care doesn't meet the standards that patients rightly expect, and we learn from it. Patient safety and the quality of care we provide are fundamental to our maternity service. Our thoughts and best wishes are with Louise and her family. We're committed to working with all our patients, and we'll continue to work with Louise on supporting her and providing appropriate resources and guidance. So one of the things that's hugely important, I'm sure, for you is being able to share your experience, share it with the hospital, and also in the hope that other mothers and parents won't go through what you've been through.
Absolutely. And, after everything happened, they did do an investigation, and I did manage to have a birth debrief with them. It took me 2 years to be able to feel strong enough to do that. And we kind of spoke through some of the things that happened and where they could try to improve the care. And, there are some amazing people that I have a relationship with, and I actually am still under their care because I have other problems I've suffered with an inflammatory bowel disease, so I have a close relationship with the gastroenterologists there. So I was there only last week, and the colorectal surgeons. And it's sort of a stark reminder every time I go in, but also you have to have this, this like blind faith in these people that are also only human as well. And I think the thing that I've learned as well is that it's not personal. That's the thing. It's not, somebody... It's not me against anybody, It's so trying to remove the emotion from it. I'm in a place now where I think, OK, how can I just get myself back to, I'm here, I'm at A. If I want to be at B, how do I get there?
Let's do it collaboratively.
Yeah,
one of the things you've been lucky enough is to have is a fantastic family around you, and your little brother. I know, as irritating as he can be, I'm sure, growing up, he has been a real... Look, there you go. He's been a bit of a rock for you through this, hasn't he, Louise?
He has, and actually I'm so lucky that we do live next door to each other, because...
That's wicked.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, I'd love to live next door to
Well, you think that, but it grows old real quick for Louise.
Yeah, we barricaded the wall up in between, so there's no hopping over the fence anymore.
Yeah, that as well.
And he's got a key. Actually, he breaks in through... Anyway.
I'm sure he does. How has your relationship changed, actually? Because there are so many great big events here that happen. I'm guessing the dynamic between the two of you has kind of changed as well a little bit.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, Louise it's funny because I've just been over there doing the bunny ears to Louise when she's getting introduced, but and that's really the only way I know how to sort of like handle stuff when it gets to that level. And but it changed a lot, I think. Louise is the bravest person I know, and to have that as my sister is nuts. I've never met anyone braver. I think like no one will ever know the full stuff that Louise went through, and
that's true.
I think it was I sort of welled up and actually cried a little bit where Louise had these little things dangling down from the ceiling in her house and little extracts from the book, and she was like, "Can you read the passage about you?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." And I read it, and she basically was like, "He's become my big brother."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dynamic shifted, didn't it?
That was terrifying because oh no, but it's a weird thing when someone you love so much is in so much crisis, and who you become in that moment and stuff. And Louise's partner Ryan is the absolute rock to everything. And I actually remember when you had the hemorrhage, I was at the ITV Palooza. And my mum called me and was like, "You need to get to the hospital now." And I actually snuck into the hospital, past all the guards and stuff, and just sat in a room with Ryan for, like, all night to find out whether Louise was going to survive. Like, it was nuts.
Well, because also, if you put yourself in that position, Ryan's there, he's got Louise on the operating table, he's got Leo somewhere else, and he's thinking that at some stage, and Leo wasn't very well when he was born either, so he's thinking he might go home from the hospital with nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you handle that moment with him?
It's a weird one because you lock in
Yeah.
You really... I've never been so focused in my life, actually, when it gets that bad, you really sort of, like, steer into a completely different phase of your being. I've never really had it before, and I hope to never have it again, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you really lock in, you become laser focused. I wasn't that emotional, actually, to be fair. I was just literally just, like, so on it.
Yeah.
And I've never actually been like that before. And so Ryan was the exact same.
Essentially, Louise, he can be grown up if he has to.
Yeah. Now I know.
Yeah, we don't want to be like that. But you know what, whenever...
But then he would come and visit me and you'd just lie on the window ledge and he'd go, oh, I'm so tired. And I'd be like, thanks, Sam.
Yeah, I'd go and moan.
It to make you laugh even at that point.
Do you know what? I did feel like there was a time where Louise obviously was going through, you know, a lot in the hospital bed. I feel like sometimes she needs the Joker in there. Yeah. So I'd literally just open the door, like, hello, clown suit zipped up. And I'd sort of try and make her laugh a little bit, which was... everyone had a different role, I think, but just to have Louise sat here now is...
It's lovely.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we're the luckiest family in the world just to have Louise still here. Oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah, we're very incredibly lucky.
And it's smashing to see your relationship. And this book is... It's a tough read, and you actually even warn the reader at certain bits. This is what's coming up, and I'm about to be very honest. But it's a great read too. Well done.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for putting up with him.
Yeah.
I mean...
You had him a lot longer than we have.
You can't pick family, can you? That's the problem.
We get to send him home at the end of the day. And he can't get rid of it.
It's true. Yeah, he seems pretty busy at the moment.
Great to see
Thank
you
you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. And Heidi Marney joins us now alongside criminologist Professor David Wilson. When I watched that clip and when I watched the documentary, it was amazing, the different facets of this man's personality and almost like the armour that he built up. His character made him so deceptive. When did you first meet him?
So Rob and I share a family member, so although we aren't blood related, I saw him like an uncle.
Right.
So I'd known him for years.
And you always saw him as this good, kind man. He was kind of a pillar within his community.
Yeah.
Try and describe him to me, paint the picture.
Well, I personally saw him as the kindest man you could ever meet. You know, when I gave birth to my little girl, he sent flowers to the house. He helped all of the community, you know. He literally took flood victims into his house. You know,
he was a councillor?
Yeah, he was a town councillor. He was in the parish council. You know, everybody loved him for what he did in the community.
It's amazing watching it, Heidi, because he was so well liked, so well respected, so well loved. He was so much a part of the community. He wasn't quiet about what he was doing. He was quite vocal about who he was.
Yeah, very.
I mean, and enjoyed taking sort of the prestige and the reflected glory and lots of things that were going on. So how did your relationship become that you moved in with him? What was the step that led to that?
So I'd seen on Facebook that he was advertising for a lodger, so he just had a room available. And I'd had a relationship breakdown. I'm very impulsive, so I just one day said, right, I'm leaving, and said, Rob, is it OK if I move in? I didn't intend to live there. That wasn't the idea. I sort of hoped that my ex-partner would come rescue me, essentially.
Sure.
But that wasn't the case. So I found myself there very suddenly. I acted on emotion. And then I realised this is my reality now, so I'll have to make the most of it and get my head down and find a home and a safe space for me and my daughter.
But it was safe and it felt comfortable and you felt like the right fit for what you needed at the time. There was something slightly strange, wasn't there, when you got there? Because he ran a computer shop where he used to fix local people's computers.
Yeah, I worked there for him.
So you worked there for him. And his house, there was tons of computer equipment everywhere, wasn't there? So even though he presented this very polished exterior, there was something else going on at home.
Yeah, he was a hoarder. There was everything everywhere. There was actually one room that had a huge living room, bedroom, bathroom that you couldn't even access for the computer like databases and things there. Yeah, it was crazy.
And that wasn't the only red flag that started to show up either, because he did have this real front of deception, this outside appearance of being kind of, you know, a pillar of the community. But there were other little red flags, either when he'd had a drink or he'd talk about hot tub parties.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
What were the red flags for you?
Just for me, so my daughter was living there with me too, and he would say things to her. You know, she was only 1.5, and he'd say, "I'm going to make it so good here that your mummy never wants to leave." And I think, you literally know that I'm saving for our house. Like, that's all I want. Why would you even say that? And then I was looking on Rightmove, and he was like, "Why are you looking at that? You can't even afford to leave," you know. And I'd think, why are you mad at me for looking at a house? That's all I want.
Yeah,
you know?
and you're just a lodger.
Yeah,
not
just
in a relationship.
lodger.
And there was that sense that he was projecting a relationship between the two of you to the outside world, that you weren't just his lodger, but there was something else going on, right?
Yeah, so it was very covert. So he would say things like, "Heidi, would you like steak for tea?" You know, if we was in a farm
public.
shop. Yeah, and I'd think, you're giving off this energy that we're a couple, but it wasn't, you know, obvious. So it wasn't like I could say, "You're making me uncomfortable," because it was something he would say, "I was just asking what was for tea."
But then there was a real moment where you'd gone out on a date and you'd walked down a road where you knew there was no chance of him driving past or knowing or whatever, and he knew where you were.
Yeah, so when I had mentioned about dating, because I'd had nearly a year off of it, he was very funny about it. So when I went on this date, I didn't tell him I was going where I was. And he texted me saying, "Weird, I swear I've just seen you in Leeds." And I thought, there's physically no way. I'd driven to an underground car park. There was no way he'd saw me. And so I immediately started to panic, like, "You know where I am. How do you know where I am?"
And then what did you find out? That he attached your phone to your computer?
Yeah, so because he owned a computer shop, I purchased a Mac second-hand, and he tracked me via my Mac. So it said, "Heidi's MacBook tracked you," 2 minutes before he texted me.
So this starts escalating now. You realise there's something sort of seriously going wrong here.
Yeah.
So how did you move things forward from there, Heidi? How did you approach him about talking about this, and how did you discover the surveillance equipment as well?
So I basically confronted him about it. He said I was in Leeds, and I said, "Well, you own a computer shop. Can you tell me how my MacBook tracked me then?" He basically denied it. I have a family member who works in the police. She said, "He's acting like a jealous boyfriend. I see this in my job all the time. I want you to check for cameras." And so that's what I did, and that's what I found.
And you found cameras. What's that moment like, Heidi, when you realise there's cameras that were specifically designed not to show the red light, so you can't see them, and they've been recording everything? This was in the bathroom, in the bedroom?
It wasn't in the bedroom, no. It was just in the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
There was one in his bedroom, though. But I froze, if I'm honest, because in that moment I thought, what happens now? Like, you are the town council. Everybody loves and adores you. I love you and adore you. Like, there must be an explanation for this. How can I accuse you of this? So I went full protection mode of him in that moment. Like, I can't call the police.
Yeah.
So somebody did on my behalf.
Yeah. They seized all the evidence, they took him. Then he did a runner to Cape Verde.
Yeah.
He went off there too, but in the end he came back and he was convicted for 6 years?
6 years.
And for doing this to other women too?
Yeah, it was nearly 20 years, probably more, but evidence-wise, nearly 20 years, and there was 66 counts.
31 charges of voyeurism, 7 of computer misuse, 6 years and 2 months. It's an extraordinary thing, and thanks to your bravery and courage, and also waiving your right to anonymity, that this documentary has gone ahead, because there could be more victims out there. David, I mean, voyeurism, can you just explain a little bit about what the implication of voyeurism is and what it means?
Sure, but first, you know, you are incredibly brave, and thank heavens that you did on behalf of all the other women who were suffering from what was happening. Voyeurism is a paraphilia, a fetish which is criminalised by the 2003 Sex Offences Act and the 2019 Voyeurism Act, which, of course, was introduced to prevent upskirting using mobile phones. And effectively, this is when it is usually a man that's a voyeur, as opposed to a woman. It's usually a woman who is the victim of a voyeur. And so this is when a man watches or records a woman who hasn't given her permission to be seen in an act which is essentially private. So when you're in your bedroom, when you're in the bathroom, when you're defecating. And so often the voyeur will pleasure himself in the act of watching, and sometimes records so that he can watch the recordings later at his leisure.
And quite often this is a kind of gateway offence almost, isn't it?
So we're really worried. So criminologists, psychologists are really worried that there could be a gateway between what would be seen as a non-contact offence, they're watching, and then making a contact offence. They're actually touching, raping, harming. And of course, we have some high-profile victims, Libby Squire, Sarah Everard. They're murderers engaged in non-contact offending. In their case, it was indecent exposure, but then they go on to murder. Some voyeurs, though, are not interested in actually having a physical contact with the victims that they are spying upon, because that would bring with it complications.
Right.
You know, they would have to... What they're really getting off on, if I can use that phrase, is the idea of having power and control and manipulation. They know something about you that you don't know. So often that's really what's driving their behaviour.
I think the thing, Heidi, that struck me as well, because you have been incredibly brave to come out and do this documentary, but watching you talk about the emotional turmoil you went through when you realised what you were accusing him of. You were really worried about him. He had managed to control you in such a way that you had this amazing bond with him, that you felt like you had to protect him even though he was doing all these extraordinary things.
Yeah, I felt like I was ruining his life.
You were being groomed, Heidi.
Yes, 100%. I didn't realise that until afterwards, because over time it was like these little mini red flags, and I used to say, something's wrong, I don't know what's wrong, but it wasn't enough. How could I explain it? You know, little comments that you would say, people would think that I was nuts. So.
And David, the level of deception as well involved in this, it feels almost premeditated.
It was.
That he created this character.
Oh, yeah. You summed them up perfectly when you were posing questions to Heidi about, you know, this facade of being somebody in the community that can be trusted. Remember, our most prolific ever serial killer was a trusted local GP. You know, people who are going to offend are very good at creating a facade whereby they appear as if they're non-offenders. And you know, all credit to Heidi, because one of the things that we've never been able to establish is how widespread this crime might be. Heidi had to fight to actually get her case treated seriously. So how many other women out there might be subject to this kind of behaviour?
So there's a saying that says, act in such a way so if anybody spoke bad of you, nobody would believe it. And I feel like that's what he did, because nobody believed me. Literally nobody. And he had an army of supporters. Even though I had physical evidence of what he did, he was still lying about it, you know, making it awful about me.
It was extraordinary. Watching the documentary is fascinating, because when you hear the fellow councillor talking about the fact that these things were happening and he still came to council meetings and led council meetings, just completely shameless.
Fronted it out.
How are you now, by the way? I mean, we're thrilled that you could come in and would talk about this. And you've done
bring
this
your
incredible
baby
documentary.
Yeah, I'm really well now. I just used it as a deep dive on therapy for myself. I quit alcohol, I've not drunk in 3 years, and I've just literally worked on myself now. So I'm actually in a really good place, and I think that that's a message I'd like to get across. Like, you don't have to be a victim forever. You can use it as pain as power, really.
Yeah. We spoke to West Yorkshire Police. This is what they said. We'd like to thank the victims and survivors in supporting what became a significant and long-running investigation to unravel Holden's offending. At the time of the initial response, the scale of the investigation was not known. It wouldn't have been appropriate to speculate on who or may not have been a potential victim until the data had been reviewed and those individuals were identified. But thanks to your doggedness and relentless pursuing of that, a lot of those victims have got some justice as well. So, you know, you have a lot to be very proud of.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in. David, great to see you as ever.
Nice seeing you back.
You can hear more about this extraordinary story in the new documentary, Peeping Tom, the Landlord and His Secret Cameras, which is available to stream right now on 5. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. And then being told that you've got a big mouth isn't necessarily always a compliment, is it?
No, not necessarily.
Unless it's the title you've always dreamed of.
Well, for Marie Pearl Zelma Robinson, the moment she'd been waiting for finally came this year when she was crowned with the Guinness World Record for the world's largest mouth gape for a female.
Look at that, that's 5 Jenga bricks.
That's a mouth gape.
A mouth gape.
That's a technical term.
It's a decent-sized hole, isn't it? It doesn't only look impressive, but she can fit all sorts of things in there, which we're going to try and put to the test in a moment. Marie joins us live from her home in Alaska. Marie, thank you so much for staying up to talk to us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Firstly,
very early for me.
Very early for you, yeah, very early. Firstly, congratulations on becoming a Guinness World Record holder. It is quite something. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to be named as having the biggest female mouth gape? How did you realise that this was a skill that you had that could necessarily be a world-breaking skill?
It's one of those things where you've always had it and you never knew you had it. So as a kid, I used to, put things in my mouth all the time because I had lots of siblings, 3 older brothers, 3 younger sisters. You do a lot of crazy stuff. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And I used it once to impress a guy. We'd played some perfect Jenga games. So I stacked some Jenga blocks and said, see how much I can fit in. And then I forgot for like 20-ish years. And I keep track of the Guinness World Records. And all of a sudden, I knew that the guy had a record. I always was impressed by it. I was like, oh, I can never beat that guy. But then they came up with one for a girl. And she was actually going for a width. And they just happened to measure her height as well. And then I was like, I think I can beat that height. And so, sorry, mosquitoes, Alaska. So I got a measuring device and I tested it with a $1 bill because that's 2.5 inches high, which was her record. And then I went on to, go to my dentist and they measured it. And then the process went on from there until I could prove it and got myself a Guinness record.
So this is essentially your mouth gape here. It's the height that you can...
3 inches.
Yeah. We measured it very, very carefully to make sure it does, Marie, match exactly the gape that you possess.
Yes, then that would be accurate. That looks about right.
So you can put all sorts of things into your mouth to prove this, can't you?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think we've got some footage of you with a 8-stack beef burger.
I think I went up to 10, actually, in that
10,
particular...
sorry, 10?
Yes, 10. I had 12, but I called it at 10 because I was squishing the bun a little too much.
Ow! Have you ever hurt yourself doing this? Or is there any foods that you can't eat because your jaw is so wide?
No, actually. It doesn't hurt at all. I've never had any issues. Like, I've never had my jaw tighten up. I've never dislocated it or anything. I haven't really thought about not being able to eat particular foods because it's never come up as an issue. The biggest issue I have is actually closing my mouth because my teeth don't come together. So pizza and, biting through sandwiches is sometimes kind of hard.
Ah, OK.
I think I'm right in saying, Marie, that you've got a few items there so you can show us live the world's biggest mouth gape in action. What are you gonna show us first?
Well, you got some stuff on the table there. Is there anything in particular you would like to see?
Well, shall we start small?
Yeah, let's start.
Shall we go from small to large?
To big, yeah, OK. So the smallest thing I think we've got is a small satsuma in orange.
Mandarin orange.
OK, so this is... So we should point out as well, our lawyers have asked us to explain to everybody at home, please don't try this at home.
But our producer said if you could just stick one of those in your mouth, quick, sharp, that's what they said to us.
Most people can try to bite it sideways. That's not a problem for most people.
Yeah.
But turning it...
Oh, my, there you go.
Why? Turning it top to bottom, too.
I couldn't find you more attractive. OK, so we're not too bad. Oh, you've got it all there. Yours has disappeared. I don't know if you've got reverse vision there, Marie, because Kat also... Yours has got... Careful, don't choke. So that's good,
that's
OK.
That's a common one.
Let's go. So that's a common one. So then we're going to move on to the apple.
I don't have an apple. I have a kiwi.
Oh, a kiwi. OK, go kiwi then. Go kiwi. What you have a go with your apple.
Do you...
She's a lady. She's a lady. Talking about that little...
Miss Bentley.
I said it before. She's not as expensive as she looks.
Everybody wants to try the fruit. It's a common first attempt. Safe.
Safe. Very safe. Right. OK. So what else have you... You've got a baseball there, I think.
Yes, I do.
You've
a little
got
bit harder now.
Right,
baseball.
Yeah.
measures closer to 3 inches.
These are getting close to your
I can't
world
do
record.
that, I don't
Have you? Right. Let's see if before you do it, Marie Cat, see if you can get it in because I don't hurt your teeth. No, that's not going in.
No.
I think we've hit your limit. Just under 3 inches. Right then, Marie,
I almost got my buns off.
Will you show us yours?
Okay, so the goal is to try to get your teeth to the top and the bottom across the diameter.
Oh, she struggles.
Oh, it's there though. It's there. That's there.
It's not the best because once you get to that angle, it starts hitting your back teeth.
Of course, yeah.
You see, that's the problem.
Yeah,
It starts to.
You've got we've seen you on with a clip of you putting your can of beans. Can you get that can of beans?
Never.
No, that's too big.
No.
This is actually beyond the current, the previous world record holder. She couldn't quite do this measurement here. This is, well,
quite close though.
So yeah, you did come quite close. Yeah. So that's how you knew you could break the world record, is it, Marie? Because you realised that the current world, or the previous world record holder couldn't quite get round a can of beans.
But you can.
Yeah, this is 7.23 centimeters across the can of beans here.
Okay.
So this would have been beyond her abilities.
But not beyond yours. Can you give us a quick demo?
This is a tricky one. It's right at my limits.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I can sort of chomp on it a tiny, tiny bit.
A little bit. Do you do sort of exercises to try and increase the gap, Marie? Is there things that you try and practice to make it bigger?
Mostly just yawning. When I drive around, because I have a courier business, I tend to practice stretching my mouth and, just while I'm out and about. It's mostly about when you're opening your mouth, making sure your tongue isn't being pulled back.
Okay, so keep your tongue forward.
Positioning and holding it steady. That's the hardest part, is holding it steady.
Yeah, that's the most intense. Now, we've got some biscuits here that are very sort of native to the UK, I think, wagon wheels. I don't know if you have wagon wheels in America. Have you seen these chocolate biscuits?
No. It kind of looks like a moon pie.
Yes, a little bit like that.
Moon pie.
A little bit like that,
yeah.
right? You know moon pie.
Yeah.
Well, famously, Kat Deely here, the ever beautiful and talented young lady that she is,
graceful,
put 3 of these in your mouth a few years back.
Look how little I am there.
In the presence of Jerry Springer, who, look, I mean, that's there.
I mean, it's not bad, is it? I'm not a professional.
I mean, there's not many things that can shock Jerry Springer, but your abilities with
Bring
the wagon
on the
wheels.
horse.
Right, are we going to try and recreate this? Marie, we're going to try and see if we can get Kat to recreate,
Let's see.
in your honour, Marie, to see if she can get these 3 wagon wheels in her mouth. It's a few years since you did this.
OK.
You did have your little
I'm
Geordie
really
friends with you.
hoping that these haven't got bigger over time.
I think shrinkflation, they've got smaller. You'll be fine.
OK, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Is there a drum roll on this? Yeah!
And that's why they pay me the big bucks.
Oh, Marie, look what you've inspired over this side of the pond. Do you think Kat's
I'm impressed,
do you think Kat's got some form? She could get there one day. She could match your mouth gape.
With a bit of practice. But you just really have to hold that open really hard.
Marie, do people spot you in the street and ask for pictures and stuff now that you're a Guinness World Record holder?
Generally, it's mostly just congratulations, because I'm already known about town. I live in, small island in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. So, everybody already knows me to begin with for the most part. But it has made people a lot more comfortable when they see me passing by on the street. That's an automatic familiarity with somebody who, something about me. Ha ha. I have had, the first time someone celebrity sighted me was a really tall guy, and he was just walking. He looked over me as I was getting out of my car to go into the grocery store. He's looking over a car. He's like, "Hey, you!" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I know you. Didn't you get a Guinness record?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I did." He's like, "Welcome to celebrity status in Ketchikan." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Very sweet.
Well, turned out to be a He turned out to be a radio host, so I did go on his show after that, so that was nice.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us this morning, Marie. Thank you. It's also reminded me just how good wagon wheels are. They're delicious.
You've left me with some very powerful memories, Maria, so I can't thank you enough for that. It's lovely to meet you. Congratulations on your record.
Thank you. It's nice to be on your show.
Thank you.
Wow, Cat Deely.
Yeah. These are delicious, though.
Just one
hasn't put me off.
One at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time would be our advice.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. Hello, how are you?
Lovely to see
Nice to see you.
Sit down, sit down. We very surreptitiously stuck a mic onto your shoulders. I'm not sure we've ever necessarily had to do an interview like this.
Is this a first?
I think it might be.
Oh, this is so amazing because my message is I'm so passionate about what I do and I've worked so hard to get these messages out there. So thank you, because this is just going to empower so many women out there.
Because this is actually what you wanted to do. You wanted to get this conversation started and do the interview exactly as you are.
Yes, because this is what I'm about. It's about being your authentic self and owning your scars. The beauty in these scars. They saved my life. Why would I want to hide them? Why?
Yeah.
You're incredibly passionate about it. You've got this verve for life. I was saying to Kat earlier, you've got these sparkling eyes full of joy.
Yeah.
So you've got the London Marathon coming up.
Yeah.
How is it running topless in the London Marathon? Firstly, it's a full-on physical challenge.
Done it before, look.
But what's the reaction that you get from people when they suddenly realise that you're running topless?
Oh, it's so mixed. Empowerment, tears of joy. There were women crying in like the whole joy and empowerment. It was just phenomenal. The people last year were just mad. It was like magic. And they were cheering and there was no pity there, nothing. Because you can't pity someone running a marathon, can you?
No. Well, isn't that one of the reasons why you wanted to do it as well?
Yeah.
That very reason that you just said was so often when people are diagnosed, when it's that moment where you have to tell your friends or your family, and everybody feels so sad and upset. And it's about taking that power back a little bit, I think.
Totally about that.
Yeah.
And that's what I do it for. So when I was diagnosed in 2022, when I was diagnosed originally, before you tell anybody, it's like a shock. But as soon as you tell people, you're taking them on this real dark journey. You feel guilty taking your family with you. You've caused this, in effect. You feel like that. And then everybody looks at you different. They tilt their head. And it's coming from a lovely place. But you just feel like you're pitied. And I hated that pity.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be pitied. You're losing your femininity. I lost my breasts. Oh, it was just... That's the worst part for me. So I thought, let's turn that around. Let's turn that narrative around and let's show us the strength, the power, the resilience, the discipline, the determination of a marathon runner with the scars on shore. And then you're kind of challenging and arguing the perception of the pity.
Yes, yeah. It's so interesting her saying that, actually, because we've got Trisha on later as well, and she says exactly the same thing. It's like you can't be afraid of living life.
No, you can't. And that's what I wanted to show. So originally, I couldn't see me.
No.
I couldn't see this. I could see it in pictures, and there's lots of brave women before me showing mastectomies, but I couldn't see anyone living a life, having fun, becoming and evolving something else. So I never look back at how I was with breasts, because now I run marathons, I do other things. I've evolved into something better without them.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the acceptance comes from, because you're never going to look back if you've become something bigger and you've evolved, because now I never ran marathons when I had boobs.
That's interesting.
So now I can say, well, I'm a marathon runner and I haven't got boobs. So that's something that's where the acceptance comes from, and that's what I try to empower in women and men, is if you become something better.
So, and originally, when you had the mastectomy, you chose to have a double mastectomy, and your surgeon did suggest having a reconstruction as well. So it was considered at some point that you could have a reconstruction of some sort.
Oh, yes. And it's not pushed, but it's the kind of, in the research, the negative impact of not having breasts in society will affect a woman. And that's the research. That's not the surgeon saying it's come from research. And I sat in the surgeon's office and I thought, where is that coming from? Is that coming from a stigma? Is that coming from society? Where is that coming from? And I realised that it was kind of like looking at two different people. So this is how I was when I was diagnosed, and I felt the pity. I wanted to hide. I couldn't get used to this body because it was devastating. You're grieving the loss of a person. You were. You're grieving. It took 6 months of just emotions up and down. And I thought, this is where you feel the pity, because the pity is kind of coming from you. And now I'm this, and I've become this, and I've evolved. There's no pity there. And then that sort of sparks out into the surroundings, and the stigma starts to go away. So it kind of comes from you initially, and I just wanted to let's change perceptions of mastectomy scars. Let's change that.
And can we talk about your diagnosis as well? Yeah. Because you almost didn't... Well, you got wrongly diagnosed, and then they finally found it when you persisted and went back for another check.
Yeah, that was a real shock, because I'd struggled with health anxiety most of my life. Right. Whereas the irony of that is literally like you constantly feel like there's something wrong with you, you might have some disease, and you haven't. It's just the way your mind works. And that's why I started running, because the running tricked my mind into saying, well, there can't be anything wrong with you, Louise, because you're running. No. And it's kind of like tricking yourself. So I was like doing all these runs, and then I was like, well, if I can keep running and just doing that, then that's great. And that's when I started training for the virtual London Marathon. But the health anxiety was a little bit there. So I went and I got a private mammogram just to make sure I was all right. No symptoms, nothing. And because obviously you don't get called up on the NHS till a certain age. And I went for the mammogram and it was clear.
Which is the news you want to hear as well. Yeah. So it's so easy to go, oh, great. Yeah. This is great. This is what I want to hear.
It was clear. And I was like, right, OK, I've got this confidence now. What I'm going to do now is have this really good self-check in the shower. Because I did self-check, but I think I just had that confidence to go a little bit further in and really check. Because you're always a bit worried that you're going to find something. Yeah. So I literally had a delve, and there was a tiny little bit of a thickening on the left side here. Yeah. Where you can see, like, the dent. And I wasn't worried, but I went to the doctors, and she wasn't worried. Yeah. But because she wanted me to have peace of mind, she sent me to the breast clinic. They did an ultrasound and found 5 abnormal areas.
I mean, you were very lucky as well to catch it.
Yeah, and there was 5 centimetres. 5 centimetres of lobular breast cancer. Now, lobular is in the lobules, what produce the milk, and it doesn't have the protein that sticks it together and forms the mass, which is what's seen on the mammogram.
So it's not more of a tumour, it's more of a kind of a web.
Yeah, like a web, and that's why it grows quite in and out of the breast tissue and is not seen. It wasn't even seen properly on the MRI scan.
So thank goodness you persisted.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be here, potentially.
Yeah.
How have your family reacted, though, Louise? Because it's one thing for you to be super empowered and come in, and we can see the energy in the life that you have. But it is still quite disarming to see somebody sitting topless on our sofa and interviewing you as courageous and as brave as you are.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that's the thing. It's not a shock tactic, but it is. It's not something you see, is it? It's not something you see. My family are very supportive. They kind of know that I kind of think outside the box. I have most of my life. And I just kind of go around things a little bit differently to other people, so they're not really shocked. But yeah, and I do think that's what I like to spark. I like to spark the discussion, even if it's negative, because to me that's valid. Yes. Because people's perceptions are different, and you've got to get it out there to get discussed. I mean, even comments I get on my social media, it's usually the one about the testicles, and that's, well, if I'd have testicular cancer, should I run around now without pants? Well, how does that work? Because there's still bits dangling around, and it's not genitalia, is it? No. And that's the thing. Another thing it brings up is, what are breasts? They're not genitals. They're not sexual. They've been sexualised. And that's where we're talking. Men run around topless. I have no breasts. There's no nipples. What are you asking me to cover up?
Do you get a bit of criticism then at times, Louise, from people about the fact that you're running topless?
Yes, because it's quite shocking, isn't it? And that's what I wanted to show. And the thing is, a lot of people say as well, you're going to traumatise children. My children, my 5-year-old wanted to see my scars. She wanted to see them. She was curious. Child's imagination will run wild unless if you hide.
They hate the unknown.
And that's when they start making things up in their head. So when she actually saw them, she was like, oh, they're all right. They're not as bad as I thought. And that was it.
That's it, and you're done.
And they're gone, and they're off. And that's it. That's all it is. They're just scars.
Well, I think you're groundbreaking,
yes.
Louise, what you've done.
And you're here today because of them
and we're
as
very
well.
proud to have you on the sofa with
thank
us.
you.
Very excited for the marathon.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Have you got a time in mind?
Well, I want to do 4.5 hours, but
4.5.
we'll see what happens on the day.
Oh, it's going to be emotional.
You know marathons, and it's never what you plan.
It isn't what you plan.
No.
But if you're going to be on the London Marathon route, do look out for Louise and give her a big cheer.
I think we're going down to the end, actually. We're going to go and see Joel, so I'll shout
Oh,
for you.
yeah, definitely shout. Oh,
Good
I
luck.
can't wait.
I'll give you
I can't
Thank
wait.
you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Now, on Monday's show, we discussed the news that the boss of the Royal Ballet wants more plus-size ballerinas on stage and prompted a huge response from you.
Yeah, our viewer Lynn said that while she was overweight, she doesn't want to see plus-size dancers on stage. And Avril said male dancers wouldn't be able to lift bigger women.
Lots of you disagreed, including proud size 16 ballet dancer Trixie Kicks, who joins us now. Hello, you.
Hello. So good to see you.
Coming in.
How do you feel when you hear those sort of comments?
It's infuriating. Annoying, not surprising, but incredibly infuriating. Yeah.
Is it ill-informed, do you think? Is that why it's infuriating?
Part of it is, yeah, definitely. And not knowing actually the culture that comes from those kind of comments and those kind of traditions and opinions and how damaging that is, like how long-lasting it is for ballerinas and dancers who have to hear that and then implement it if they want a career.
Yeah. Let's go back to you. When did you first fall in love with ballet?
At 2 years old.
2?
It's like my nursery had a nursery on the ground floor and a studio on the top floor, so I did ballet from 2. And the
baby Trixie!
The videos of me doing it at 2 years old, I'm taking it incredibly seriously, and you can just see I fell in love with it.
So it's been your life ever since?
Yeah, danced ever since, and then went into full-time training at 16, and then loved it even more once I was doing it full-time. Yeah.
So when did you feel that you didn't kind of fit in the ballet world?
I think probably for most girls, it's when you hit puberty and things are going up and out and you're in the pink tights, the leotards, in front of a big mirror for hours in the day. And if you're not fitting that mould you've seen of ballerinas and dancers over the years, of that incredibly thin physique, you're noticing you're not fitting that mould. And then when I was auditioning for dance colleges, because I moved into more sort of dance and musical theatre, but still doing ballet, and when I was auditioning for dance colleges, I was getting comments like, fantastic audition, what a great day, you're a beautiful dancer, but you know you've got a huge weight problem. And I was about a size 12 back then, and you know you've got a huge weight problem, but you know that, don't you, and your thighs are too overdeveloped. And I didn't really, I had to nod along, like...
It would be those words, would it?
Yeah, like... It was mad, like, and that was just in the audition process, let alone going to those kind of colleges. And we know that was like dance musical theatre colleges, and we know it's so much worse in ballet schools. We've heard the personal accounts and stuff, and we know that old-fashioned teachers still use sticks and stuff, and they're poking and prodding at things and telling you to suck this in, and that shouldn't be there, and I can see your dinner. Like, comments like that are so outdated and so damaging. We know it's so damaging for ballerinas and all dancers, for their mental health, their physical health, for the rest of their lives sometimes.
Well, it's body shaming, really, isn't it? It's blatant body shaming.
To a really high level.
But in the ballet world, the average ballet dancer is what, size 4
Teeny
to
tiny.
8?
Yeah.
They're very, very small. I mean, you are the average size
very
woman.
Average, 16
normal.
to 18. Very average.
Normal size. Did it ever have a massive effect on your self-confidence?
I definitely saw it and felt it, but I was quite stubborn, and I've raised to be quite stubborn and to get what I want. And I wanted to be a dancer, and I was never going to be a professional ballerina, but I loved ballet, and it is a really strong core of dance, whatever style of dance you want to do. So my stubbornness I just ignored it, and I wanted to push through it, and I wanted to be the change. Like, it sounds very cliche, but you have to be the change, and there has to be that physical representation.
You don't see it, you can't be it.
On stage, on social media nowadays is such a massive thing. So I pushed through, and I didn't go to those colleges that made those comments. I went to different colleges, and then I ended up going into the world of burlesque, which is all about female empowerment, all about body diversity, and I just got even more passionate about it through years of performing that.
But On the other end of the scale, these poor girls are under huge pressure. You're kind of getting that, not criticism necessarily, but you're getting the feedback on one end of the scale. Like, and then you've got these other girls who are small, who are like, I didn't even, size 4 is like so tiny, right? And the pressure, reading in my notes, she said it's coffee, it's cigarettes, it's literally just keep that size.
And part of that is the selection process, I think, into ballet school. Like those who maybe have that natural frame are going to be selected into ballet school. So it's partly that selection process. And then on top of that, all of that conditioning and pressure from teachers, from directors in schools. So I really hope this announcement is going to actually be implemented into the
Yeah, what do you make of it? Because obviously the head of the Royal Ballet, Ian McKay, says he'd like to see more plus-size ballerinas represented on stage. What are the tangible steps to make that happen, to change that culture?
Makes, an actual difference in the schools, the way teachers teach, the way they speak to the students, the language they use and what they focus on, whether it is the physique or whether it is actually technique and artistry. And actually, what you weigh has no effect on your technique and artistry as a performer.
Because you've still got to be good.
It's still got to be a fantastic dancer.
No one's going, open the doors to everyone,
athletic, right? To be a ballet dancer. But there doesn't need to be that focus on thinness. There doesn't need to be focus on that really traditional but outdated aesthetic. So I hope we see the difference from people saying, the people that are actually in the ballet schools, and then see the difference on stage, where we do actually eventually see a more wider diversity of bodies.
And surely when you hear people say, well, they can't lift the dancers, surely they need to get stronger, the men then?
They do, yeah. I've got some mates who can help them down the gym if they like.
But is there a certain point with men where they would get too muscly to be ballerina? Like, as in, I mean, I don't know, like, would they be too body...
Yeah, but I think...
But that's OK, we can embrace
those kind of roles, they're so limited. Only a couple of dancers in natural company will actually show you get lifted. The rest of the corps de ballet don't get lifted most of the time, so...
And isn't it to do with your own core as well? You've got to have a really strong core.
Yeah, you have to be so strong. So I used to do cheerleading as well, and to be lifted, you have to be so strong. It's to lift someone who is weak, it feels really heavy. They feel like a dead weight.
Yeah.
So you have to be so strong to be lifted, and you have to be fuelled to have that energy.
And you're teaching ballet now. How do you make people feel included? What sort of people come to your classes?
A whole mix. I go to classes, I teach classes, and it's so... From social media, we get so much from social media these days, and seeing the actual people in the classes and actually talking about it and telling people that there's such a range of people from their 20s to their 80s in some of the classes that I go to, all range of sizes, all range of abilities.
So what do we do it online? I'm getting involved in this.
Yeah, there's courses online, there's classes online, there's so much you can do if you want to start from home. If you're starting it or you're getting back into it, there's so much you can do online. And then come into an actual class, you can't beat that community feeling of a ballet class.
My wife started doing ballet bar, you know, ballet
Oh, yeah. That's more focused on, like, sculpting.
She really likes it.
Or does she do that?
It's hard. It's hard.
Go to class.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Very hard, yeah.
What would you say, the kids watching this and they just want to get into ballet, irrespective of this?
And they might be a little bit bigger.
I'd say be stubborn like me and go. Start at home if you want to, but go to the classes, because I think there is this preconceived notion of what a ballet class is like, because we know what old teachers used, how they used to be like with their canes and slapping bums and stuff. And I think that has massively changed in most recreational ballet classes, definitely. And there is a different vibe. It is way more inclusive and friendly. And there's people just like you in the class who would just want to be there for a good time. It's so good for you mentally, physically. Ballet is such a good form of exercise, but it's the artistry and the joy of moving to music and also being with other people who enjoy that too. So go to the classes, because you might be surprised, actually, the people there and how the teachers are.
Thank you so much. And you're so great on social media. I've seen her on social media. You're such a lovely dancer. Thank you so much.
I just want to put that message out there, because more people should be able to enjoy ballet if they want to.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Now, we're remembering one of our beloved This Morning family members today, 19-year-old Matthew Locke. Matthew first appeared on the show back in 2020 and charmed the pants off us with his enthusiasm and love for gadgets. We often had him review everything from vacuum cleaners to phone cases.
Yeah, however, just over a year ago, Matthew tragically took his own life. And his parents, Richard and Christine, have since been campaigning to raise awareness about ADHD and the increased suicide risks that come with that. Welcome, Christine and Richard. Thank you so much for joining us. We absolutely adored your boy. We loved him, didn't we?
He just had this passion and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And he had funny bones, he was kind, he was caring. You know, we didn't get to meet him an awful lot, like we only met him a few times, but he was He was a breath of fresh air when he came into the studio.
And
a real character.
Yeah, and he loved coming in.
Did he?
It was his passion.
Yeah. And he loved his
vacuum
cleaners, didn't he? He loved them vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
He was so passionate.
Oh, yeah.
Where did this all start? Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, it was sort of from an early age. He actually started to sort of pick up and just love the things, and then he actually started to repair them, and that sort of grew. And he had an incredible ability just to find what the problem was and fix it. A young engineer in the making, and it grew and grew. And he ended up with his collection of over 100 vacuums, and his social media then grew, and the story sort of got out there.
And his passion was unbounding as well. He was so politically engaged, wasn't he? He was a councillor, and I know that he met many politicians. So, he just had the rest of his life ahead of him.
He was so loving as well. Like, he used to pick up litter, didn't he? He'd go out and he'd pick up the litter.
He would help anyone. He would talk to everybody in the community, young, old. He was caring, sensitive. But that can sometimes be an ADHD trait, that you can be overly sensitive.
Yeah.
Basically, emotional dysregulation can come into it.
He was diagnosed with autism at 14.
Yeah.
At the time, the signs of ADHD were missed. But I suppose, from your point of view, when you have that diagnosis, you go, well, in many ways, great, because that's what we get. That's what we have to work.
That's exactly what we thought. Yeah, we thought, OK, so that's why Matthew hyper-focuses on maybe one
thing.
He's
functioning, he's great, he's got a great world, great life.
He'd gone through school and was doing all right, he was getting through, and he'd gone to, or he was going to university. And I remember Chris coming into the bedroom one night and go, how's Matthew going to cope? I think he's got ADHD, there's more behind this. And we then pursued a diagnosis, and he did eventually get diagnosed at 19, but it had been missed from the age of 14 right the way through to 18, 19.
On reflection now, looking back, can you see that all the traits of ADHD? What were those traits that you noticed? And when you look back now, you can go, it was like so obvious.
Lack of focus, inattention to things he wasn't interested in. Disorganisation, everything last minute, if he wanted to do something, I'll do it now. You know, we couldn't say, well, I'll tell you what, should we do that tomorrow? Should we plan? No, I'll do it now, I've got to do it now. And then different focuses. He'd have a hobby and then love that for a while, and then that was it. I'm finished with that. I like doing this now. But he was very sociable, so the autism side, I thought, well, perhaps he's perhaps this is ADHD as well, but we didn't realise that the two can coexist. We didn't realise that.
And I imagine that typically about 80% of people with autism have ADHD as well. It's a co-occurring thing. From the diagnosis that Matthew got, surely they should have looked into that as well.
And what you're saying, I'm sure, resonates with so many viewers at home, whether it's their families or themselves. I listen, you're listing off those character traits, and I was like, I'm a bit like that.
Well,
so you don't think about it, right? Exactly.
But it's when it impacts you. It's when it's persistent and it's showing up in school. You may be having problems. The teacher may be saying, we're having a problem with this young boy, young girl. They're not concentrating. And of course, it does present differently with girls. Girls mask, as we all know. But if this isn't identified early enough, then these layers of self-esteem get battered, and the child won't understand, well, why do I feel like this? Why can't I learn like X, Y, and Z, my peers? So ADHD is a brilliant thing. It's a superpower.
And the craziest thing, like, adults are 3 times more likely to use drugs. They'll have a drug issue,
or
disorder,
alcohol.
Alcohol, something like that. And our Matthew did struggle with that, didn't he?
Within ADHD, about 50% of people find some form of addiction, whether that be gambling, whether that be drugs, whether that be alcohol, social media. All of those things play into that. And there's a lot of people we've come across, are struggling in that area, but actually just don't know that it's linked to ADHD. There's some work being done by Dr. Peter Mason, who's done a research
into treating people for ADHD who have got opiates and other drug misuse. Pretty much all of those people that he treated for ADHD came off the drugs.
Or lessened it.
So it's incredibly powerful. And if people can get that understanding and treatment early, then it's not going to affect their lives long term.
As you were just saying there, guys, it can come in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the last thing you want to do today is scare anyone at home.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you've been working with parts of the NHS ADHD task force. Can you tell us what that involves?
Yeah, on the back of working with ADHD UK, we did a conference, a global conference, explaining Matthew's story. And there are risks associated with ADHD, but yeah, equally there's a powerful story behind it if it's managed properly.
Yeah.
So we were then asked to join the task force, which is a collection of leading experts, doctors, and also experts by experience, which we're classed as. And we're hopefully coming up with some recommendations
from
to
our
take
point
this
of
forward.
view. Our experience.
What would be those, do you think? Just, I mean, obviously you're not there yet, but like, just top of your head,
I
do you think
we
really
need
need to
earlier.
change?
We need earlier diagnosis. We need earlier screening when a child, as young as possible, because if they're going into secondary years and they've struggled in primary, they're only going to struggle more in secondary years, and that's when you've got to be organised. Peer pressure increases, and these kids want to fit in if they're really impacted by it. So you can be a risk taker with ADHD too, due to the impulsivity symptom. And kids will want to be accepted. So there's higher risk-taking behaviours that they'll take just to fit in. So that could be, OK, I'll try that drug. OK, I'll be the one who jumps off that third step where nobody else will. So interestingly, if it really is impacting, and as we're saying, we don't want to scare anybody, of course, that made Matthew who he was. And I can tell you this, there's no way that he wanted to do what he did. However, the impulsivity and the lack of being able, with executive function, to stop, think of the consequence, he's followed that through. And that is what we can try and pull back. If somebody knows they do have an impulsive nature, and whether that's associated with ADHD, there are strategies to use, resources to be able to stop, think, reflect and wait.
Well, listen, anything we can do to help in the future, please just come back, talk about it.
Thank you.
Whatever you need, we're here. He was a cherished member of our family, and by extension you are. And the way you've spoken today...
He would be so proud of what you're doing as well. And you've changed the website for the NHS.
We've got
done
that
so much.
And, you know, all we can do is hope we can make a difference in Matthew's name and change the outcome for
he would want to
people.
be here. There's no way.
He'd love this.
There's too many stories where children have taken their own life and they've been struggling with ADHD and struggling to get an assessment or referral. So we just need to educate ourselves. Thank you.
Richard, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, listen, if you have been affected by any of the issues discussed, help and guidance is available on our This Morning website.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning. And Anne Chambers, a.k.a. Crazy Auntie Anne, joins us now. You are a tonic.
You are crazy.
That is great.
It's so lovely to meet you.
So nice to meet you, Anne. Where did this come from? So you're a teacher.
I am.
And what did you... Well, you were telling your students your message, weren't you?
My niece started my account when I was like before lockdown.
Yeah.
Hence the Crazy Auntie Anne, because I am that crazy auntie. You know,
you're the one.
Leaves chocolate under the pillows.
Yeah, nice.
So Kelsey, my niece, she made my account, and then when we went into lockdown, because I teach mental health for a living, or I taught, I've just retired actually. Mental health for a living. When we went into lockdown, I wanted to cheer my students up because they were all 16-year-old and stuck in the home, stuck in the bedroom.
What an age to be stuck as well.
Also, they needed to meet the learning outcomes as well. So I thought, let's be a bit more creative. So I started making silly videos to cheer them all up, and also encouraging them to make videos to talk about mental health and that sort of thing. And then I was talking to them one day when we were having a class, and I said, you know, you guys can be anything you want to be in life. If you want to be an astronaut, you can be an astronaut. You've got to study really hard, push yourself as far as you can, knock on that door that you're not supposed to go in and go, I want to come in here, how do I get in? But you can do anything. I said, for example, set me a challenge. So they said, get 10,000 followers on TikTok. So I said, yeah, all right.
I'll try.
Okay.
So how quick did you get the 10,000, and how is it quite difficult to get the traction?
Well, I posted regularly, and then look. I think it was just one of those things. I read a poem. There's 2 videos that I did. One, I read a poem, and I was in my dressing gown.
Normal.
Yeah. And everybody was like, I love your dressing gown. And my dressing gown became famous before me, I think, actually. And so this dressing gown became famous, and it took off and it got a lot of views, and I went up to 70,000 followers with this one video. And then
unbelievable.
And then I also shared one where the bottom half is a gentleman playing a guitar.
I remember that, and then you're on the top.
And I'm on the top half, and that it's made 30 million views. It's just absolutely.
And is that someone in particular seeing it? And because I'm not on TikTok, so I'm not like.
But it's literally a little bit like Instagram, and I think it just gets trending and people start watching it, and then people see it, famous people see it, and famous people have even been in contact, haven't they? Who's been in touch? We've had Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran commented.
What did he say?
He said Slay Queen.
Brilliant.
Slay Queen. Oh, look at that.
Look at you with a little 4-heart emoji going back at him.
Yeah,
Like your
obviously,
style.
you know.
Thank
you.
I should have put tickets, please.
Yeah, exactly.
You could direct message him now if he's following.
I could, yeah.
And who else?
And then Slash shared, actually, the video that I did with the guitar, Slash shared it on his Instagram.
Do you think he thought that was really you playing it?
To this day, I don't know. He either thinks I'm a really good guitar player or I'm really funny, and I'm not sure which one of those is. I don't suppose I'll ever know, really.
I haven't seen that guitar one before.
It's good, isn't it? It's so good.
Read
the comments. So the cut off the bottom bit, that's somebody else playing.
I'm only the top half.
So who did that? Did you do that?
Yeah. I did that, yeah. And I'm just the top half, so I do the guitar faces.
So she's just doing the faces.
I'm just doing all
someone else's hands, and then they put it together.
Yeah.
And then
so good, isn't it?
and in the comments, like, it was really funny because in the comments people going, "You're a really good guitar player." And I'm like,
it's because you were both in black. I think because you were both in black, it looked so good when you pieced it together.
But when and then other people are going, "She's not really playing." And then so I could just sit back and watch all the comments, all just like.
So your students said 10,000.
Yep.
What are you up to now?
2.1 million.
What a message to give to them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and when I got back out of when we came back out of lockdown, they were all so proud of me, you know. And one of the funny stories as well after that was, I was only a couple of weeks after lockdown, and one of my students said, I can't go to maths today. And I said, if I can get 70,000 followers on TikTok, you can go to maths.
You can get to maths.
And what's incredible about this whole thing? This is life-changing because you've retired early.
I have,
And you're earning money from doing TikTok.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you earn the money?
A lot of song promos. We do a lot of songs, so new bands going through, because TikTok's wonderful for that. It's wonderful for music.
So what, do you get paid to use a particular music?
Yeah.
This is a new world.
New brand deals coming through. There's so much coming through in terms of, like, even Marshall Jeffries, who was like the Chicago house scene.
Yeah.
He wanted to do a Zoom call with me, so I went on Zoom. And I thought, oh, that's so nice. He must want to talk to one of his fans. And when I got on the call with him, with my management agency, he was like, oh, my wife's a big fan of yours. Can I have a photograph?
What?
I'm like, oh.
And where does the love of music come from? Because did you love that Chicago house scene? Is that what you got sort of back into back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, I love all house music, I love all music. I love music.
Yeah, you're into your music.
Yeah, and actually, you know, so, I mean, I married quite young, and then I got divorced when I was sort of 38, and then that's when the house thing came along. That's when I went out partying. And actually, one of the strange things is a lot of comments that I got on my social media are, can we see some photographs or videos of you in your club days? And they don't exist because we didn't have mobile phones.
No.
Oh, yeah, you had
Thank
real
God.
photos.
Yeah, we didn't.
And did you think?
Yeah.
I checked you out yesterday, and in many ways, the unheralded, like, the support act here is your husband.
Yes.
I saw him popping
Uncle Eric.
Uncle Eric,
I saw it. Because he looks like he's quite... There we go. Always looks like he's going to put upon.
It's like me and you.
Yeah, exactly. Does he secretly love it?
He does, yeah, he does.
I saw him doing the Air Tonight with Phil Collins yesterday with the pots and pans. It was brilliant.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so glad this has changed your life. You're bringing so much joy to so many people. What would you say to someone who's at home thinking, oh, I could never do that, I could never have the confidence to go on TikTok? What would you say to them?
Be yourself. I think if I was to put down one of the things that I think has been successful for me is because I'm just me, just as I am.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I like you.
Oh, you're just your authentic self.
Yeah, authentic self. And I think if but you guys are though, aren't you? It comes across when you're yourself, and I think because I'm just me, just as I am. And also, you just got to not care what people think, haven't you? You've got to not care.
We love you, Anne.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep earning your money and just enjoy your life, Bab.
And inspiring, Anne.
Who would have thought a 63-year-old could give up work to be a
That's why you're inspiration.
You are a star. You're a star. You're on this morning, Bab. You're a star now. Thank you so much for joining us, Anne. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. But before all that, new data has revealed that water pollution in England is at an all-time 10-year high, causing hundreds of wild swimmers to fall ill from serious infections.
It's a big issue. One woman who's deeply passionate about clean water is our next guest, 28-year-old Megan, who took a love for the environment to a whole new level. She is committed by marrying the River Avon.
How beautiful were those pictures?
Lovely, weren't they?
You in the water, yes. You heard that right. Her one-of-a-kind wedding was complete with a wedding dress, guests and vows. And Megan joins us now to tell us all about it. Hello, Megan.
Wish we could have come to this.
No, I wish I could have invited you. That would have
Wish
been
we
lovely.
knew you then. It was wonderful. Looks so nice.
So, firstly, you've got your husband with you right here.
He's my darling.
There's Avon.
There he is.
Yeah, a little bit of a River Avon. Tell us about this wedding, because it sounds absolutely beautiful.
It was a really magical day. People say it's the best day of their lives, and it definitely was for me.
Was it the vows that you took? What was it that made everyone so emotional?
Well, I'm a writer, so I put a lot of thought into what I wanted to say. There was a film crew that were there. The shots that you just saw were from a documentary film, Rave On for the Avon, of which my wedding is the finale. So we knew that this story was going to keep being told beyond that day. But also, I had an incredible celebrant, a really old family friend of mine that has known my parents for a very long time. And she does funerals, mostly. And this was her first wedding. And she told me afterwards that she has never cried at any ceremony she's done before or since. Aww. But she cried on my wedding day.
That's so nice.
And it got all of us, you know, looking out into that audience, everyone was weeping.
Yeah.
I'd never been to a wedding before. And there I was in a dress.
You've never been to a wedding before?
I'd never been to a wedding.
How did you enjoy your own wedding?
It was great.
You
loved
should do
it.
more weddings.
Well, I went to a couple last year and I love weddings.
Was it hard to organise? Were you bridezilla at all? I mean, how did the day go?
I don't think I was bridezilla. I hope I wasn't. Luckily, I had a lot of support. I've got a lot of very creative friends, you know.
The outfit's amazing.
The outfit, my mum helped me buy this dress from a charity shop. My friends from school, because, you know, I married the Avon, which is the Bristol River, so we wanted to do it in a kind of quirky Bristolian way.
Great. Have you taken your husband's name yet? Have you illegally taken the name?
I haven't done it legally because the paperwork seemed a bit long. But it's kind of my stage name because since the wedding I've been performing my poems a lot more and getting dressed up for morning telly. So it's nice to have two names. You know?
Sorry to interrupt. How are you with him playing away?
Well, it's an open relationship.
It's an open relationship.
It's a very open relationship.
So when you see people swimming in there, you're like, hang on a second.
I love going to the river.
Get your dirty boats out of my man.
Luckily, I know I'm green right now, but I don't often get jealous. I love going to the river and seeing lots of people enjoying being near the river. And I've been on tour recently, and I've been swimming in a lot of other rivers.
Megan,
And I don't think that they're jealous either.
You got a lovely vibe about you. You've got such lovely energy. And this came from a really serious place in all, didn't it? Because... I mean, how long have you been wild swimming, and did you grow up around the river?
So I grew up in Bristol, and I always thought the Avon was too dangerous to swim in, inaccessible, muddy, polluted.
Bad boy, you said.
A bad boy.
It's a bad boy. She's made a boy.
My parents said, stay away from that river.
Yeah.
Dirty bad boy.
Yeah.
And then I started swimming. Luckily, I've got family that live in Wales and Scotland, so we would swim. I didn't know it was called wild swimming back then.
Just swimming, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Just swimming.
Same.
So I can't really remember when I first started swimming, I've just always been drawn to water. And I think we are all drawn to water in a way, because we're mostly water, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We're over 50% water, and so's the world.
What's lovely is so many people cared. I mean, you got this wedding crowdfunded. I think you raised about £500 of it, spent £1,000 on it. So many people do care about our waterways. I mean, if we look at some of the statistics in 2024, 331 people had to see a doctor, and 79% were reported that the medical professionals had attributed that illness to sewage pollution. It's so sad, isn't it?
It's really sad, and it's not just an issue here, you know? I mean, we've got a fully privatised water system in the UK, one of the most expensive ones as well, and the water's still shoddy. And 50% of the world's population, 50% of hospital beds in the world right now are taken up by somebody suffering from an illness related to water contamination.
That is an incredible statistic.
It causes more deaths every year than all violence, including wars, you know? Water is an essential part of life. And I think just as it's a human right to have access to clean drinking water, I think it's a human right to have access to water that you can also swim in and be in, and for it to improve your mental and physical well-being.
And it's unbelievable, isn't it, the difference it makes?
Yeah, you said you have a relationship with the sea?
Yeah. I'm more of a salt guy, so, but, you know, I respect the rivers, respect the fresh water.
Would you ever consider, you know, a little relationship?
I'm married already, but I'm definitely cheating on my wife with Hampstead Ponds.
All the time.
To be fair...
Is that not going to sound... She's cool with it, though.
She does as well, yeah, so... But there is something about being in water. Doesn't matter if it's the winter or the summer. It's just something to sort... You come out and you're like, I'm ready for the day.
Yeah, it's transformative. Because you're entering a different element, aren't you?
What is the message that you want to get across to people out there who are watching today?
So I want to say that there's a lot to be scared about in the world right now, particularly with water pollution. And this campaign, there's a lot to be angry about because, you know, our bills are just going up and up. They Ofwat have given allowance for water companies to raise the bills by 30% every year. So there's a lot to be angry and scared about. But what we wanted to do with the wedding was to focus on love and joy and union and the strength that bringing people together through those joyful moments. Like, we don't have many ceremonies left in our human Western world right now, but we still have weddings. Yeah. Everyone loves a wedding. Yeah. So that's what we wanted to do. We want to give out a message of hope. And there's an empowerment. I think coming out of the water, you feel stronger. I didn't think I'd be sat on morning telly in a wedding dress, but the swimming in the river has given me the power to have a voice.
Megan, if people are watching this and they're like, well, I'm not really a swimmer, it's not even about swimming, it's just about being, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just about being in nature, being in, whether it's mountains or beaches or rivers. It is that notion of just, like, stillness and a reset. I think everyone...
And you just want it to be clean.
Yeah.
I mean, you just want clean waters.
What are you going to do for your next anniversary? Because talk about bad boy, last year you broke your leg.
I did, yeah. So...
Naughty River Avon.
Well, I'm trying to work out what the message is there, but I've done 2 pilgrimages now, one to the source of the river and one to the mouth. I went to Avon Mouth for my
Where's the source?
The source is near Malmesbury kind of area. So you walk through a lot of private land because 97% of riverbanks are on private land. So we only have access to 3% of our rivers in England and Wales, which is wild. Yeah, luckily, with the Thames, you can walk all the way up and down it. There's footpaths, but there's not for the Avon. I was trying to go to the river for a swim, and I slipped and I broke my leg. So access is really important. There's Right to Rome is an amazing campaign group, and they've got an event coming up on Sunday, the 27th of this month. And because how are you supposed to build a relationship with something that you don't know? And how do you love something you don't know? And then how do you protect it? So, yeah, we need to work on ways to get to the water and build on this relationship and build this love.
Can I just say, the River Avon is very, very lucky. I think that River Avon's punching.
Oh, he is.
Gorgeous. You know what I mean?
But have you met my darling?
Yeah, but she's right.
I think we're quite well matched.
She's right. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the first person to have fallen in love with the river, and I don't think I'll be the last, but I really hope that the rivers will still be alive and well in the future.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Megan. You can see the documentary Rave on the River Raven, independent cinemas across the country. You've been brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
We're starting today by meeting a real-life superhero, aren't we?
After contracting meningitis when she was just 15 months old, Tilly Lockie's hands were amputated to save her life. But through state-of-the-art bionic arms, she's been able to live a life to the fullest.
Tilly is now 19 years old and yesterday became the first person to get the most advanced wireless hands in the world, which are incredibly controlled by her mind.
Tilly joins us now alongside robotics engineer and all-round clever clogs who helped design her hands, Joel Gibbert. Welcome, both of you.
Yeah, welcome.
Tilly, I haven't seen you for ages. You came on the show a few years ago, didn't you?
2020, I think you were.
Yeah, a couple of times. My first time with you guys, though, so
yeah, nice to
be chilling with you.
It's nice to have you back, Tilly. Let's start at the beginning for people who don't know the story. You were just 15 months when you contracted meningitis.
Yeah.
It came at a cost. You lost both of your hands at the time. And the thing is, with something like this, it's such a big thing. Do you even remember a point when you felt different from anyone else?
Yeah, like, it's completely life-altering, body-altering operation, obviously, and luckily I was so young at the time, so I don't remember it. I've kind of, like, had no hands my entire life, you know? So it's just something that I've always known myself to be like. And growing up, yeah, there's definitely some challenges, like, you're adapting to a world that is designed for 4 limbs at the end of the day, and something that has been a journey has been prosthetics, and through my own experience, I've been able to see, like, that evolution firsthand, you know, so it's been really, really cool.
I think that's the most fascinating thing, is how many iterations this has had for you. So, I mean, when you started, what were your bionic arms like? What were you using?
Well, my first prosthetic I ever got, I was 2 years old, and I was, like, pretty much fresh out the bandages, and that wasn't technological at all. It was basically like a tube to put your arm in. There were, like, these 3 prongs tied together by elastic bands, and the way it operated was with this hook on the thumb, which would attach to a harness, and then the way I'd move, like, my upper body would pull on strings and make it move. But obviously, 2 years old, got barely any bodily coordination anyway, so it was a bit of a nightmare, and now you see them and they're, like, 3D printed, muscle operated, and, yeah, it's been wild.
And when you're little, all of that, your gross motor skills, your fine motor skills have to be developed with that in mind as well, I suppose.
Yeah. And I think for me, it was, like, I wasn't just adopting it as my hand. Like, I just didn't really know what was even going on at that point. So it's been a journey.
Yeah. It's been a journey. Now, obviously, you're here to show off your new bionic arms.
Yes.
I've been watching you on Instagram, actually. It's so interesting. So tell me about these arms that you've got at the moment.
So these are the brand new Hero Pro. We had the Hero Arm, and this is Hero Arm next level upgrade. So they're pretty cool. They're still, like, 3D printed, muscle operated, but we've got all this extra capabilities now, which is really, really cool.
And Joel, you actually designed these. What got you into bionics?
Well, probably playing with Lego as a child. What got me really interested in technology. That evolved into electronics and robotics. And then I wanted to do something that would have a positive social impact with technology. So got really into bionic hands and prosthetics.
What's it like as an industry to get into? I mean, presumably there's a lot of qualifications you need before you even start, but it must be so innovative and so exciting. And looking at Tilly's journey, has come on so much in the last, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, well, yes, it's come on enormously. One of the reasons that inspired me to get into it was because technology wasn't really moving forward from the sense of what people were actually getting for prosthetic limbs. So there's lots of research taking place, lots of really exciting things, but they weren't really making it to market. And so that was one of the key things, was like, could we take this really cool technology but actually make it accessible to the NHS, make it so that everybody's actually getting it.
Brilliant. So when did you meet Tilly then? Tell us about that story of meeting Tilly.
It was probably like, you were about 9, 10 years old, I think, at that time. So we wanted to work with users of prosthetics very much from day one.
Yeah.
So we were putting out calls on social media to say, does anybody want to help us test the new designs, prototypes that we're making? And was it you or your mum got in touch with us? I think it was your mum got in touch with us initially, and we were like, yes, that would be great. We want you to help. And even from 9, 10 years old, Tilly was giving us fantastic ideas for how to design the arms.
Tilly, what's extraordinary was before we came on air, you said you're still getting used to these. And you sort of don't know your own strength.
Yeah, I mean, they're twice as fast, twice as strong. So, you know, it's definitely something to get used to, but, I mean, even better, you know.
Yeah.
I get to be bigger and stronger now.
So can you demonstrate a few of the things that you can do? Can you pick up that glass there?
Yeah, so they're all muscle operated. I can just control it like that, can do anything I want to do.
And are you doing that with your mind? You're just thinking...
I mean, everything ultimately comes from the brain, but what's really great about these is it's just these 2 muscle sensors. So it's only squeeze to close, flex to open, cycling through grip modes, and even that becomes second nature after a while.
Joel, what's the mechanics of that? Like, so how does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basically most of the muscles that will move your hand and fingers, so there's like 24 movements in your hand and wrist.
Yes.
But all the muscles that are controlling them, nearly all of them, are actually in your forearm. And they connect to tendons that connect to your fingers. So even for somebody that doesn't have human hands, they've still got most of the muscles.
Yeah.
So the things that Tilly's thinking about to make those muscles move would be the things that we're thinking about to do those movements with our hands. So it's kind of intuitive. I don't know whether you feel that it's intuitive. It's intuitive for somebody that lost a hand when maybe they had previously used one. For you, you're saying you can't really remember, so...
Yeah, it's odd. Like, I wish I had the other hand so I could compare.
Yeah.
I'm like, I genuinely don't even know, but it works.
And is it a constant fine-tuning? Because you were saying that they're quite strong, they're very strong. Did you have to fine-tune? Would she have smashed that glass in the past?
She wouldn't quite be able to smash the glass, but so the hand detects the amount of pressure, and so it will kind of automatically stop applying pressure when it grabs an object, but then Tilly's able to give it another signal to increase the pressure if she wants to. So the idea would be you could, for example, grab something like an egg and then smash it and crush it on demand.
The egg would be done for you.
So could you operate that arm when it's not attached to you?
Yes. So that's the thing, and we've posted about it on social media, and that's what everybody is like, this is crazy, mind-blowing.
Oh, we've got to see this.
We have...
I'll just help Tilly.
Completely wireless, so you can actually just detach the hand like that.
And you're thinking about it.
And I can still operate it the same way as if it was attached. Make it move.
That is incredible.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I can do little tasks for me when I can't be bothered.
Have you ever had any mishaps where you've left it somewhere?
Well, I am sure that I will be, like, something like that will happen. I haven't had them long enough to make a mess of it yet, but, yeah.
Also, the practical jokes and wind-ups, you can use that for.
Oh, yeah. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Joel, what's the future for this? Like, obviously, it must be hugely expensive, the research and development and the manufacture. So, are we going to? Will there be a time where this can be available on the NHS? Or?
This is available on the NHS now. Yes.
Now?
Yeah. So these have been developed with a lot of feedback from NHS prosthetists, specifically designed to make sure they are available through the NHS.
And can you change the colours and things like that?
You can, yeah. So there are covers you can put on the outside of the arms. You can have different designs and colours.
I mean, this has been life-changing, especially for your music as well, Tilly. It's really been life-changing for that, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it just gives me the opportunity to... It's just things people take for granted, like being able to hold a microphone and, like, express with the other hand, even to be able to, like, shake someone's hand or, like, throw a peace sign, you know? It's the little things like that. But, yeah, if I didn't have them, I would just be, like, stood behind, like, a mic stand probably, but it just allows me to, like, prance around and be crazy on
so
stage.
your company's Open Bionics, and Tilly, you're working with Open Bionics now.
Yeah.
So what a great poster girl to have, right?
Couldn't think of anyone better.
No.
She's fantastic.
Tilly, if people are watching this at home and they're going the start of a similar journey that you were when you were 3 years old, and the parents are watching and they're in the depths of despair at the moment, what message would you like to give to them?
I would just tell them, I mean, it's all about raising awareness and making sure people know what's actually out there. Like, so many people, I've been posting about it for years, and so many people see these and they're like, I feel like I've missed, like, 10 years. Like, when did this happen, you know? So it's just getting it out there and making sure people know that they're on the NHS as well. Because sometimes people will see them and be like, oh, well, it's a pipe dream for me, I can't afford it, do you know what I mean? But there is all this support now, so if it is something you want to get started in doing, like, you can, and there's options available. And I would also say be open. The best thing about Open Bionics is they're so open to feedback, and it's through people, like, using it, like, and going about their day-to-day lives. They're the ones who can give feedback and make them ultimately better, and that's what I do.
And in a wider context as well, like, the fact that people at home who might be going through a similar thing can see a 19-year-old that's young, vibrant, that's, you know, that's got the rest of her life ahead of her. Exactly, yeah. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Today marks a hugely significant moment in history.
Yeah. It's been 80 years since the liberation of Bergen-Belsen, the Nazi concentration camp, where more than 72,000 camp inmates imprisoned in war died during World War II.
Though 80 years may have passed for our next guest, who was just a child when she was sent to the camp, the horrors of the Holocaust remain all too vivid.
We are joined now by Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen survivor and best-selling author Rini Salt alongside her son Martin. Welcome, both of you. Rini, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very well.
And sharing this story with us. Let's start before the war. What can you remember about your childhood? You lived in a town called Zunskowola in Poland. What were your memories before the war?
I had a wonderful family. My parents, my younger sister, and my 2 sets of grandparents, and so many aunts and uncles. My father was one of 8 children. My mother was one of 4. So the family was very large. And we had a wonderful, wonderful childhood.
A happy upbringing with a lovely, loving family.
Yes, schooling, and my parents planned such wonderful things for us. They wanted us to go to Paris to study further after school.
Yeah.
They didn't think about marriage for us. They always thought more about education.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yes.
And then the war started, the Nazis invaded. What are your memories, your early memories? Because then you were basically forced from your house and moved into ghettos, is that right?
Yeah, first of all, we ran away from our town. We went to lodge. I don't know why people ran away. Perhaps they thought it's a lot bigger town, we might be safer there. But I had my grandparents also there. My father's family lived in lodge. So we ran away to lodge. And after a few days, we had to go back. We didn't have anything with us. We left our home. So we started going back to Zunskowola. And when we arrived near our house, our landlord met us. And he said, the Germans took over your flat and took over everything. You've got nothing to go back to. So we lost our home on the very first day of the war, practically.
So your life is literally taken from you, every single bit.
On the very first day.
After a while, people had moved into the ghettos, and after that,
There wasn't ghettos yet. At that time, there wasn't ghettos.
But when you were moved into the ghettos, life was very difficult, correct?
Very difficult, yes.
And then when it came for you to be transported, how was, you know, we know these names now, they trip off our tongue so terribly, the names of Auschwitz, the names of Bergen-Belsen.
I've never heard of it.
How was it sold to you that it was just going to be a different life?
Yes, they sent us out to different camps. And so we found ourselves first in Auschwitz, and then from Auschwitz I was sent to Hamburg.
And really, before you get on the train, what were people telling you about where you were going?
Oh, we are going to better places, of course. You'll be better off. You'll have plenty of good food, good living accommodations, good medical care. All they wanted that we should go quietly.
So really, reading your story, the saddest thing is how you lose your family so...
Yeah, gradually.
Gradually and incrementally. So suddenly someone walks that way, you never see them again.
Yeah.
Your father turns a corner, you never see him again. It's just heartbreaking.
My sister went first. They took her away, and my mother never recovered from it. I still miss her.
Of course.
Still miss her today. And then eventually we lost our grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, everybody went.
Really, how do you rebuild?
Bit by bit, they were all taken away.
How do you rebuild when something like that happens to you? How do you keep going? Where do you get that resilience from?
You've got no options, have you? You have to pull yourself together and do the best you can.
Yeah. What's amazing is how you remember this like it was... It feels like you're telling us this story like it was last week, you know?
Absolutely, not that like it happened 80 years ago. Like it happened yesterday.
It never leaves you.
Never leaves you, no.
Really, for so many people, Auschwitz was the end, but you went to Auschwitz for a small time. You were reunited with your mother through almost luck, wasn't she? She got in the right queue.
She wasn't in the right queue. She was separated for a minute.
Yeah.
Before I had a chance to cry out, she was back with me.
Yeah.
That was her courage, which did that. She wanted to be with me.
Of course.
She wanted to look after me, and she did to the last, till she died.
And then you were transported to Bergen-Belsen.
No, first to Hamburg.
Yeah.
On slave labour.
Yeah.
Had to carry sacks of cement, with cement on my back.
And how old were you?
15, 14, 15.
A child?
Yeah.
You were just a child?
Yeah. I still suffer from my back.
Really?
I still suffer from my back.
And really...
The pain never left me.
It's a very difficult question to ask, but what are your memories of Bergen-Belsen and your time there? I mean, we read so much about it and we've seen the footage, but from someone that was there, it just seems unimaginable.
I came to Bergen-Belsen on a train from Hamburg. They stopped us in the middle of nowhere. They started screaming, "Get off the train, be quick," which we did. We jumped off. We had to hold on to one another to remain standing. We were gasping for water. It was so hot already. And it was April, but still it was hot. They lined us up and they took us to a hut. We were walking through many miles of very woody country till we came to the gates of the camp. They opened up the gates and we were pushed through. The scene that met us there, it's not possible to describe. Yeah. Here we saw skeletons walking.
Oh, really?
Their arms and necks were like matchsticks. Their eyes bulged out grotesquely out of their skull-like faces. Some were dressed in rags, others were naked. The stench that arose from the camp was impossible to describe. We've been through already so much, but this was something different and horrifyingly different.
Oh, really? I know you've put all this in your book, A Mother's Promise, and it is so painful. Me just watching you tell the story, I don't want you to even tell the rest of the story because I know it's in the book, because it's so painful to even listen to. Your son Martin's here. Hi, Martin.
Hi.
What's unbelievable about this story is Rini meets Charles, who was actually one of the soldiers who helped to liberate the camp. And you're the offspring of that beautiful relationship, and we're so happy you're here. Did you know about what your mum went through, and what age did you find out about all these stories?
Well, when I went to school, sort of late 60s, early 70s, there was no such thing as Holocaust education. So the word Holocaust didn't even exist in my mind. My mum and dad never spoke about their experiences, even though they'd both been to Belsen. My mum was a prisoner and my dad is a liberator. They must have had this pact that they wouldn't talk about it at home.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick up anything through school or from my mum and dad. So it was later on, in the early 2000s, when I was 48.
Yeah, 48.
We went back with the BBC to do a documentary about my mum's experiences, and we went to Poland, Germany, and retraced her footsteps. And at that stage, that was the first I knew what she'd, not even in great detail what she'd been through, but at a high level. And it's only more recently, when she's been talking, I've been going to some of those talks, that I've got more of the detail, but at home, I didn't know anything at all.
Why would she talk about it?
She's a mum, she's protecting her baby.
Yeah, and also you want to live a new life, right?
We couldn't talk about it.
Of course.
My husband always had tears in his eyes when we spoke about Bergen-Belsen especially.
Well, Rini, today we commemorate the anniversary of your liberation and those who were liberated at Bergen-Belsen.
Just lastly, what message would you want to share with future generations?
What I would like to tell future generations is that they should live in peace and with one another. There shouldn't be any difference between colour of the people, whether they're black, white, doesn't make any difference. We're all God's children.
Rini, thank you so much.
Rini, thank you for telling
and
your
thank
story.
you for. I'm sorry that you have to relive this time and time again, but the message is so important.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming on the sofa, and you, Martin.
Thank you.
Sharing your story with us.
Rini.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning. And Terry and Jono join us now. Thanks so much for coming in, boys. Jono, tell us a little bit about the show and how you got involved in it.
Oh, it's such a beautiful show. The producer, Andrew, contacted me a few years ago, and he's like, Jono, got this idea of a show, and I've heard you say we live in a world that's obsessed with image and looks, and I think that's harmful for everybody. And he's like, I don't know how it's going to look, but I just know you need to be in it. And I was like, OK, tell me more. And he was like, we've got this clinic, people with visible differences come to the clinic and they feel safe. And with that safety, they're able to talk about whatever's gone in their life that may have given them a visible difference, whether they were born or if it's happened later on in life. And we just do this emotional journey with them. It's not about this before and after. It's about the journey, the emotional journey. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah.
And what's lovely about this show is it tackles everything, doesn't it, mentally? And not everybody has surgery, do they?
You'll meet 14 individuals throughout the show, all on their own unique journeys. And they all approach it differently. Some is treatment, some is more emotional work, but you can't have one without the other. The emotional work is such a key part to it all. And I think everybody who watches it, they'll be able to connect with somebody or a certain emotion, like, oh, I feel like that too. And it's beautiful.
Well, Terry, let's chat to you. What happened to you back in that day in 2007 was just unimaginable. Tell us what you're comfortable with telling us. I mean, what do you remember from it?
Well, my uncle was a paranoid schizophrenic, and he was, on the day of 2007, he was looking for paranoid answers to delusions that he had going on. So, and he was armed with a petrol can and a lighter at the time. So that was kind of the basis of...
Yeah. What are your memories afterwards? Like, do you remember the first memory you had after the attack?
Yeah, I thought I was going to die, I'll be honest. As soon as I went to hospital, I was swelling up and I just felt like I was seeing the light, if that makes sense. So I thought I was done for then.
And in the months and the years afterwards, is it just a case of you don't want to shut the door, or...?
Oh, it's such a long journey, and an emotional one, because so many things happened in that time of 3 months. Learning to redo things that I'd done for so many years prior to that. And the first time, through all of that journey, they handed me a mirror for the first time. And it was like, oh, God, it was like a monster looked back at me.
Yeah.
So that was my hardest thing, I think.
So you just didn't... Obviously, you'd been in this massive burns incident.
Yeah.
You didn't recognise yourself at all.
No.
And then you decided to do this show. But before you did the show, you actually had a tattoo as well, didn't you?
Yes. So when I went on the show, I basically went on there because I had half eyebrows and I really wanted to get my symmetrics back on my face and my expressions. And upon doing the show, I found out that my tattoo was a mask because I was so disfigured. I put a tattoo on so that people would look at that rather than look at me.
So to distract people from looking at you.
from how I looked.
Is that a common thing, Jono, do you think?
I'm not sure if it's common, but it's definitely something I've done. In my teenage years, I hated my face. So during high school, one lunch break, I went to town, went to a local tattoo shop, got myself a tattoo. I was into gangster rap at the time, so I chose a crucifix, got my arm tattooed, bled so much, got wrapped up and everything, went back to school and everybody was like, oh, let's see your tattoo, let's see your tattoo. And I had all these people around me, not talking about my face or in my head. It was never really about my face. They were my friends, but in my head, it's all about my face. I need to take the attention away. Look at this. And people looked and were like, you've got a tattoo, mate? And I'm like, yeah, like instant regret. And then for the next 2 years, I had to wear jumpers around my mum. Just
See,
try
I
and
think the
hide
regret
it.
hasn't lasted, though. You've obviously gone down the route.
And every time my mum sees a new tattoo, she's like, oh, you ruined your beautiful skin. But I would do, when I was in my trauma, I would do anything to take away the attention from my face. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be cool. I didn't want this to be a talking point. And, yeah, there were a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms started with food and eating sunbeds, just that obsession to fit in or to be accepted or to try and, you know, just to please society almost. And thankfully that's passed and I'm able to turn up as my authentic self. And the more I am my authentic self, the more doors open, the more friendships I make, the more random, beautiful moments I have with random strangers. And
what's lovely, when we're watching the show, what's really lovely is your connection with everybody when you have a chat. What did you get out of doing the show? You was a presenter on it. What did you get out of it?
For people like Terry and all the other amazing contributors, for them to trust me with some emotional stuff is pretty special, and it's going to really, really stay with me, and it helps me heal. And having heart-to-heart moments is just something the world needs more of. You know, we live in this social media world and technology, and we've lost that human interaction and those heart connections. And the show is all about those heart connections, sharing stories, sharing moments, sharing smiles, hugs and tears. And we need more of that. The world is full of a lot of hate at the moment. And the show just teaches us to love ourselves and love our fellow human being.
What about you, Terry?
I think Jono being the host of the show was the amazing part, because going on it, to see someone that understands what you're going through before I even started the journey, then that was special for me.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Rather than someone that hasn't been through something.
Yeah. What procedures did you end up having in the end then?
Well, I went there for hair transplants and eyebrows, which I got, and then I got my tattoo lasered off, which was probably the longest.
You literally can't even see any of it now.
No.
It's unbelievable.
But like Jono said, well, I had other tattoos before that to cover all my skin grafts, and then that was just it's changed my life since that's gone. And having my eyebrows, people say it's cosmetic, but my hair and eyebrows are so important.
It's life-changing, isn't it?
It's confidence. You need that as a man. I had so many confidence issues that to come back with it now, feel back to my old self.
And like Jono said, it's not just about the physical treatment. It's about the emotional, psychological treatment. Yeah. How has that journey been for you since this?
What, during the show or after?
Both.
Well, it was, you know what, it was hard because I went through so many surgeries back in 2007 and 8 that I had to relive it.
Yeah, right.
Going back into surgery and recovery is the hardest because it's like a lonely journey there. You feel back to square one. And I felt like I was had to recover so many times for this. It's easy to say now because you forget it, but you've got to bear in mind that any surgeries come with like a recovery period as well.
Are you at a good place now where you can say, actually, the name of the show, Love My Face, I actually do love my face?
Yeah, do you know what the funny thing is? I feel like the title of the show now, yeah. Because I honestly do, because I sit there and I feel so good in myself.
That's so lovely.
Because I felt lost for so many years, so...
What a wonderful show.
Yeah,
what a wonderful show.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
One thing I will say as well, everybody who came onto the show, they had these, not everybody, a lot of them were like, oh, I'm not sure if I feel like I deserve to be here. We all, every single one of us, people watching at home, we all have things that we're insecure about, and we need to approach them and we need to talk about those feelings and emotions, and that's what it's about. Sometimes treatment works, sometimes it's having a chat or a hug or something. So watch the show. People are going to be able to connect with so many people and so many emotions. And yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love My Face starts Thursday, 10 o'clock, Channel 4. You can stream all episodes then too. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning. Someone who knows her better than anyone is her daughter, Billy D, who is here with us now. Hi.
Hi.
Good Great to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
Just watching your mum is always it's that kind of combination of pride and it's my mum.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like universally, it's the mum look, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, can you imagine your mother going on a reality TV show?
Oh,
no.
man.
No, absolutely not. But did you almost persuade her to do it?
Yes, it was me who persuaded her to do it. I mean, she gets asked quite a lot to do it, but there's never been a good time. There's never really been a reason. But she's so passionate about talking about cancer and living with long-term life-limiting illnesses. And we just felt this was the perfect time for her to go on and, you know, represent, you know, all the millions of people who are living with conditions like that, especially at the time, you know, when the government are, you know, limiting personal independent payments and people are really suffering. So I think the fact that she's chosen to go on it this time is going to really impact a lot of people and make a big difference, hopefully.
So when you actually had that conversation with her and you sat down, what was it quite a kind of... Were you pushing against an open door? Was you like, this is the right time? Because, you know, her career's been so varied and successful and, you know, now she's obviously focusing on living her life. Was there a part of her that just went, do I really want to do this?
No, I don't think she's ever thought, I really want to do this. It's just, she's never really been interested in reality TV. But I just said to her, look, I think you can talk as much as you like about living with cancer, but people need to actually see you and see it. And then she thought, OK. So that was the moment that really clinched it for her, I think.
Yeah, nice.
It's not, and you could tell by the reaction of the crowd, even when she came in. You know, we've all got a soft spot for Trisha. I grew up watching her doing her chat show, you know, and I really remember her as this British Jerry Springer who... with so much warmth, and that's how she appeared. When she came up on stage and said that quote about, you know, just don't be scared of dying so much that you start being scared of living. Yeah. I think that just resonated with everyone, didn't it?
It really did. It really did. She's always been an ambassador, you know, for the underdog or for people going through a hard time, and she's always willing to put herself out there, and I'm so proud of her.
But were you heartened by that reception? Because I think when I was reading in my notes, she said, you know, she hasn't been on TV for a while. And yet she was just universally adored.
Do you know what? I think both of us just sort of forgot. A lot of time has gone by since her show, and I just think when everyone started chanting Trisha, I was jumping up and down. I couldn't believe it, and I could see on Mum's face that she was a bit taken aback by it as well. But she is a legend, and I'm really glad that, you know, maybe this reminds her of that. Yeah.
I think, I mean, she's, because of her chat show host past, she'll be very good at sort of being the negotiator, probably settling a lot of arguments. She's got a lot of interesting characters in there as well. Is there any, do you see that she's going to have to probably have words with a few of them?
I mean, she's already had words with a few of them. I mean, look, Mum will have a go at anyone she wants to. But yeah, she is really good at sitting down with people, getting those sort of difficult stories out. I think after the eviction tonight, she'll really come alive and be there supporting people. So, you know, let's see how we go. Sometimes Mum does start fights as well, so fingers crossed that doesn't happen too much, but we'll see.
She's a mediator, but you don't think she'd necessarily be the mother of the house.
The thing is, I've lived with her. I think it's very different, her doing her day job to actually living with someone day to day. You know, she can be a bit cheeky. She can push people's buttons sometimes. So look, let's see how we go.
I like that she was honest. I remember the first night, you know, Danny Beard was really loud, and I like that she just went straight over and said, by the way, you did my head in last night, you're too loud.
I mean, I've had that conversation with my mum several times. I almost cringed for Danny there. Yeah, I was like, Mum, don't be so grumpy on your first morning. But, you know, I think she commands respect, doesn't she?
Yeah, and he appreciated the honesty.
He did.
Do you think Mickey Rourke will be one that will appreciate the honesty?
I think he will. I think he might have an ally in Mum. I think, you know, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But they're of a similar age, a similar generation. Yeah, I think they might.
She could be the link, couldn't she? She could be that link between him and the younger generation.
Yeah.
And him realising the words he uses, even if he doesn't mean them with offence, are offensive and are antiquated, and sort of, you know, and maybe bring him out a little bit.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, because there'd probably be a level of respect there. If she said it in the right way to him, then he maybe would take it on board, and we might see that side of him. We'll have to wait and see, because he's obviously up for eviction, so who knows what will happen tonight. We've heard her already telling stories about you, which must be weird to hear your name being dropped with Nelson Mandela and all that kind of stuff.
Mum loves a name drop. Mum loves a name drop, as I'm sure we'll hear a few more of them as the show goes on. But it is weird hearing stories about me. It's weird hearing my name mentioned. I'm just sitting at home, I'm like, oh, God, OK. No, but she has lived an incredible life. And normally it is her interviewing other people. So I think it's great she has a chance to share some of her own stories.
People haven't heard that story, and obviously you can't remember it, but can you tell us the Nelson Mandela story?
I mean, obviously, I can't remember, but, you know, I think it's probably one of Mum's proudest moments of her career. She was the first black person on Australian TV, which was massive.
What?
Yes.
The first black person on Australia TV in general?
Yeah. So, yeah, she made history with that. And so when Nelson Mandela was released from prison and he went on his tour, they sent my mum to interview him. So, yeah, that was incredible. And Mum used to bring me everywhere with her when I was a baby, and I was screaming and crying my head off, and Nelson Mandela wanted to hold me. And, yeah, I've got a little signed note from him at home still.
Wow.
Really
Lovely
incredible.
line, like he hasn't heard a baby cry for 20-odd years or something. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, your mum is a legend, and I'm sure the public are going to be backing her. Do you think she wants to win?
I don't think Mum wants to win. I don't think that was ever her intention. I think she's in there to fly the flag for everyone, you know, going through cancer or chronic illness. And, you know, I think she was really shocked not to have been nominated. I think that would have been a big moment for her and a big surprise. Yeah, I don't actually think Mum's ever won anything in her life. So we'll see what happens. But
She's winning in life.
Yeah, I was going to say,
What
she
she's
might
doing.
just absolutely naturally breeze through on this one. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah,
Lovely
thank
chatting
you.
to you. Celebrity Brother continues tonight at 9 p.m. on ITV1, ITVX and STV and STV. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning. After being diagnosed with motor neuron disease 2 years ago, Anna Barrow and her husband Martin had to figure out their new normal.
Yes, as the MND Association have seen a 20% increase in demands for grants. The couple say they wouldn't have survived without that help, which has enabled Anna to record her voice on a tablet, including some fun phrases, which I can't wait to ask you about, which is just so brilliant, the way that both of you are dealing with this devastating disease. The pair join us now. It is such an honour to have you both on. Thank you.
No, thanks for having us.
I mean, Anna... let's go back to the beginning, shall we, of how you were first diagnosed with motor neurones disease, because that must have been pretty terrifying.
Symptoms started in 2022 with weakness in my left hand, which the GP thought was nerve damage. Other symptoms started, such as being startled easily. Little things would make me jump, and I also kept tripping over. The doctor said it could be menopause, but I thought I am far too young for that.
So Anna went through a 18-month period of having some symptoms, and started in her left hand, getting a bit weaker, and then moving to the right hand, a few trips and falls, and got put on a long waiting list to see a neurology team. It was only, Anna had a little bit of an episode, spent 2 weeks in hospital. And then it was the nurse there that thought, you know, something's not right. 2 weeks of tests, wasn't it? Being smacked with a hammer on your knees, testing your reflexes every day. And then, yeah, we were... it was the day before she went home, so the 2 weeks, we were given a diagnosis, weren't we, on the Thursday.
And Martin, for your point of view and your family's point of view, are you thinking about that new reality, or are you just that when you got that diagnosis, was there that element of shock, or had you started to prepare for it?
I don't think you can prepare for it. They always say don't Google symptoms, which we didn't really, but as it got to the end and we didn't know, so it was an absolute shock when the consultant took us into a room and gave us a diagnosis, and yeah, we just cried for a while. Yeah, it must have been a good hour. She kept on coming back in, going, you know, and we had a conversation there and then, didn't we? And first thing we said was, what about the girls? That was our first.
You've got 3 girls.
Yeah, 3 girls.
20, 16 and 15, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're absolutely amazing, and they've been brilliant. But yeah, that was our first fault, was the girls, and initial shock, and just sort of had to restart our lives, really, didn't we? All the plans that we had, and, you know, it's just difficult being told that you've been diagnosed with something with no cure and no treatment.
I can't even imagine, Anna, and especially when they sort of, first of all, were sort of saying menopause, which feels so, you know, every woman at some point will go through that. What a gear shift. But the way in which it just feels like you both tackle this head on, and from the sounds of it, you both were like, right, what are we going to do about this? We're going to live life now. And you had things that you wanted to do, didn't you?
Yeah.
Definitely. Martin and I have been married for 18 years and we wanted to renew our vows. I wanted to walk down the aisle. We have always wanted to take Tilly, even Fallon, to Disney. We went for Christmas and New Year. It was amazing and we made memories we will cherish forever.
Oh, Disney with the kids, that must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was full on, wasn't it? But it was, yeah, it was something we wanted to do, and it was more of that, you know, we say that we'd rather be, you know, an hour early than a minute late. Yeah. So it was just kind of everything that you wanted to do is do it now. Yeah. Say yes more times than you say no, and like I say, from the moment Anna was diagnosed, even in that room, after crying for a bit, the first thing we said to each other was, we'll deal with it how we deal with everything as a family, and humour and positivity. We'll take the mick and we'll have a laugh while doing it, and, you know, and we'll have our cries, but, yeah, it's all about choosing your mood and just making sure that you're seeing the positive in everything.
Such a testament to you that you came into that mindset so quickly. Can we bring in the MND Association and how they've helped you?
Yeah, so we got introduced to the MND Association at Anna's first hospital meeting. We met Andrew, one of the volunteers, and from there got invited to a meeting, and the help and support from them has been a lifeline. Not, you know, the well-being, you know, the advice that they can provide for you, but also the financial burden that comes with MND and being diagnosed with something like this. You know, we've received probably about £5,000 worth of grants from the association, which is out with cost of living. So when the bills go up in April, we can get a grant which kind of offsets that. So you're not, it's just one less thing to worry about. And they've been absolutely amazing, haven't they? And we can always reach out to them when, no matter how small the question or how big the challenge, they're always there for supporting us.
Well, exactly, because how would any of us prepare for this? You've got to change your whole house, I presume, in the way you can move around.
Yeah, so we've gone through all of that, home adaptations, and that was the same thing, of that mentality of do it now. And so we've had our house adapted, and we had another grant from another charity who provided a grant for flooring to make it all accessible.
Yeah.
So the Ed Slater charity, which was absolutely brilliant for us. But yeah, we've we've done everything, and we've just tried to get everything right for you, haven't we?
And that grant, one of those grants, helped bank Anna's voice.
Yeah, so they provided hundreds of people across the UK with the ability to bank your voice, and for that, I'm forever grateful for that. You know, that gives Anna the opportunity to still follow me around and, you know, tell me that tell me off, tell me that I'm doing something wrong, and but yeah, to bank. For someone to be able to bank the voice is...
And how does that work, like, practically?
So, yeah, it's quite simple, a piece of equipment. Anna recorded a voice on a laptop. She had to say 50 phrases, which then created Anna's voice, but then she also got the ability to record 300 of her favourite phrases to make it more unique, to keep, you know, it more personal. So names... sayings, you know, in-jokes within the family, that northern humour. So, yeah, it's a really straightforward process, but the process was actually really difficult emotionally.
Yeah, Anna, did you find it emotional recording those?
I found it an emotional process. I had to stop and start because it was upsetting, knowing the reason I was doing this was because I might not be able to say these things in the future. So, like, names and sentimental phrases were the most challenging to record. I didn't want to think about losing the last bit of me.
Bless your heart, because I suppose I understand in the way that you've got to record them while you still can say all those phrases, because you start to lose that ability, which obviously you're still doing very well with today. And, you know, you're an incredible woman. And what I love about you so much, and when I heard about this, I said, I can't wait to meet her. You've recorded some cracking phrases that you can fire up at any point. Talk me through some of your favourites.
I have a few. I say to Tilly, even Fallon every day, crack on. If they need a bit of encouragement, slay queen.
Slay queen!
If they have done something fabulous or they look good, or just because. But my absolute favourite is grab me a Prosecco.
There we go.
Oh, a girl after my own heart. Grab me a Prosecco.
We'll echo through the ages, don't worry.
Yeah. That's
so
fantastic. So good. I presume, Martin, some of these phrases are directly at you.
Yeah, so the ones probably more so around... I've missed a bit, that's probably the biggest one.
Missed a bit.
Have I done my chores, and then you've missed a bit actually follows that.
How many of the 50 were made up of the ones that basically...
49, probably. No, so, yeah, it was it's good. You know, it's a massive thing for all of our family, you know, our close family. In terms of the voice banking, you know, Anna uses it quite regular, but not so much at home, because I don't know whether we understand Anna or we just know what she's going to say. So that...
My face. Yeah. Face says a lot, doesn't it, sometimes? One look can say
then more
enough.
so with people outside and people that she's not met, she's having to use that. But Anna does that more to help others, for them to understand her, so she is understood as well. Yeah.
I mean, you're both phenomenal. I honestly mean that. And I think you coming on the show like this today, you're just going to inspire so many people, because you're brave and you're attacking something that's so scary. And you're going, let's just live. And you've got loads of things you want to get done, don't you? You've got loads of things and you want to just live life to the fullest.
Holidays are a little tricky now with the accessibility and financial barriers. But I have learned that there is no place like home surrounded by the people I love most, my family and friends, relaxing in the garden with a glass of Prosecco.
There it goes again.
Now I spend my time raising awareness for MND and the amazing community. Martin and I are doing what we can to spread positivity in what can feel like a hopeless situation.
I tell you what, I admire anyone who makes something like this less scary for others, and that is what you have done today, because these things are terrifying, and you've just made it human and made it normal.
Oh, hi.
And that's so important, because any diagnosis like this that's terminal is frightening.
Thank you so much, guys.
No, thank you very much for having us.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning to talk about an issue that's affecting young people more than ever.
Yes, some brand new figures released today reveal that while over 90% of schools actually ban phones during the day, online safety is still a top concern.
So our next guest knows that all too well. At just 13, she was coerced by an older pupil into sending explicit photos, which were then circulated around her school.
Yeah, now at 22, Roxy Longworth is campaigning for more to be done to protect others. And joining her is the Children's Commissioner for England, who's responsible for promoting and protecting the rights of all children. Morning to you both.
Morning.
Thank you both for coming on the
thanks,
show
Roxy.
today.
Rachel, can you expand a little bit about what the Children's Commissioner does?
Yeah, it's an amazing job, and I've been doing it since 2021, and it's a 6-year role. I was a head teacher for 20 years before that. Look, my job is to make sure that children's voices and interests and lives are heard by government, by Parliament. So I'm often doing surveys and taking their voices there. Also, all of the public sector who look after children have to make sure they're doing their job. And I've got a special and most important job, which is to look after the most vulnerable children who live away from home, which means I talk to all the children in prison, all the children who arrive as illegal immigrants, the children in hospital, children in mental health wards, and make sure that their needs have been met. And I run an advocacy service to do that. So there's a lot there.
Huge remit.
It's an amazing job, and it's a privilege to do. And today's issue, I can tell you, I've surveyed more than 1 million children, and online safety, the online world, is at the top of their concerns.
It's absolutely terrifying. And I think, Roxy, thank you for being brave today, coming on to chat about it, because I know this was something that's almost buried in your past. You probably don't like bringing it up, but it's going to help a lot of people today. So thank you for talking to us about it. And this was something that actually happened to you when you were only 13 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. When I was 13, I was coerced and pressured into sending photos to older guy at my school. He was 17 at the time. It's hard to explain, because the pressure was so subtle, and you don't realise that someone's in control until it's way too late.
Of course you don't.
Also, the gap between 13 and 17 mentally is so huge. So he, you know, even a young 17-year-old knows exactly what they're doing. You're 13, you're a child, right? So that sort of, that pressure, like you said, is just so subtle, right?
Yeah, it was so subtle. He then shared those photos with a friend of his who was also 17, who then blackmailed me with them into sending whatever he wanted, with the threat that otherwise he would spread them around the school.
It's unbelievable because it's so out of your control, and I can feel how that would have spiralled. I can imagine being 13, you've got the older boy, so you're not sure what older people are doing. You're probably there thinking, oh, maybe everyone's sending pictures, maybe that's what I should be doing. You're so young, you don't know. And then before you know it, these pictures are out of your control, and didn't they end up circulating around the entire school?
Yeah, they were sent all around the school, everybody had them. But by that point, I'd been living with that kind of feeling of feeling disgusting and that shame for quite a few months by that point. And then, yeah, they were spread everywhere, and the bullying and the humiliation and the shame afterwards just caused my mental health to spiral.
At what point did you open up to your family?
I didn't. It was only when the school called them in and told them that that they found out. I didn't feel like I could go to them, just because I felt like they wouldn't understand the online part of my life.
Yeah.
Well, also, even though you shouldn't feel like it, you would feel embarrassed because you don't want to tell your parents things that you're doing like that. I mean, it's very private, and at the time you'd have felt that was you and your boyfriend or this lad sharing something, and it's got way out of hand. I mean, it frightens me. I was at school when it was the Nokia 3210. You couldn't share things like this. It does terrify me, the smartphone era, which, I'm sure, Rachel, like you've said, this is now becoming a massive, wider problem, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the work I've just done, the piece of research I've just done, I basically wanted to get to the bottom of what was happening in schools with phones. Now, I know that's not all of this, and I think Roxy's story has got so much more in it that we need to talk about. But literally, I ordered every school to send me their phone policy. And actually, I was really heartened that pretty much every head teacher had made a really strong attempt to restrict use of phones and ban phones. But that can't be all of it. I think when I listen to Roxy's story, those really careful RSE lessons and the ethos of the school, where you're able to open up and have those conversations about the sharing of pictures, things like that, on what to do if that happens to you, who's the trusted adult, how to build that trust both within schools so that children and young people and actually, frankly, 13 is a child, are inoculated and supported and taught how to manage that. And we need to be sort of working with parents too. Do you know, one of the things I found out in my survey was that although phones are restricted in most schools, which is great, kids are still spending over half of them spending 2 hours a day on internet-connected phones, and a quarter of them spending 4 hours a day, and that's age 8-year-old up. What I know from my surveys as well, kids get their phone at 11, 10, 9. They're very honest with me. They're seeing hardcore, horrible porn from at that age. They're seeing violence, gore, beheadings, coercive sexual material, suicide ideation material, and parents just don't know.
No.
And we need to help parents understand how to manage this whole thing.
Presumably, a lot of that is safeguards within the phone as well. It's kind of, we did a piece on it yesterday with Alice Beer. It's kind of parents being across the safety features of their phone, and that won't eradicate it, but it will certainly help it. Roxy, let's go back to you. Just before we get to where you are now, which seems like the incredible work you're doing, how did you get yourself out of this? What happened to turn your mental health around? What happened to turn the circumstance and situation around?
I mean, it really ruined me at the time. I ended up being hospitalised and spending most of my year 10 at school on suicide watch.
Oh, my God.
And the saddest part for me is that I then wasted... I really did lose the rest of my teenage years just because of the shame. It kept me so isolated. I felt like I was the only person in the world who'd messed up and ruined my life, and I just felt disgusting. And that was the hardest bit, I think, looking back, is just so much time wasted feeling like that. When actually, like, from what you're saying, it's not unique so many people feel, whether or not, it's not about the specifics of the situation, like people see things that make them uncomfortable or sad, and then there's that shame around it that's just ridiculous. There shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's so good. So literally last Sunday, just gone, you've set up a website. It's called Behind Our Screens. So people can Google that, look for that, Behind Our Screens. Just talk us through what that is and what it does.
Yeah, so it's this platform where I'm trying to encourage young people to anonymously share their experiences growing up online so that we can amplify young people's voices. For two reasons, really. Firstly, because of that wasted time feeling ashamed, got to kind of encourage more open, more honest conversations around this stuff so that people aren't, like, the fact, I don't want that 13-year-old sat in their room feeling ashamed of whatever they've seen or experienced. I don't want that. So having more open and honest conversations. And secondly, because I realised how big the gap was between our generation and adults. And, like, to try and bridge that gap so that young people's real lived experiences is what's informing the education on this stuff, the regulation, and so that parents really understand what we're actually seeing, because it's evolving so quickly. So we kind of need this, like, constant feedback loop where
it's
people...
updated.
Yeah,
constantly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Rachel, from your point of view, sorry, what support at the moment is out there for parents and children?
So, look, there are loads of websites, you know, Internet Watch, Ours, NSPCC. Particularly, I want to talk to any child who's experiencing, or young person who's experiencing what Roxy experienced, get on that NSPCC website. But most importantly, you know, parents need to be talking to their children, and actually getting them to open up and talk about what their experiences are. If that happens early enough, we can avoid what happened to Roxy happening at all. So I think there's two things. There's the support that we can get from websites, from charities. Every teacher, head teacher is safeguarding trained, the police are safeguarding trained. You know, there should be adults you can turn to. But I think the education point, the young people and the peer support point is really, really important. But for me, the fundamentally most important thing is it's parents and children. We've got to get those conversations happening, because that's, you know, when I did a big, I brought a couple of hundred 18 to 21-year-olds into the Department for Education, where my office is, and I asked them, what do you wish, you're the first generation that's grown up with tech, what do you wish your parents had known? And do you know what they said? They said, we wish that they'd not given us phones too young. We wish that they kept us off some of those apps too young and helped us go out to play. We want to be able to talk to them about the things we're seeing and the things we're happening without us getting into trouble or having our kit taken off us. Don't let us have our phones in bed at night. And that's the children. And I asked them an absolute killer question. I said, if it was your little sister, or when you have children, and this is 18 to 21-year-olds, are you going to give them, are you going to give them unfettered access to the internet and apps to go? And they were 100% no.
This is the thing. Technology's happened so quickly. Parents aren't always up to speed with it all. That phone or tablet has got access to the world. There's too much power in that one little phone, and I'm hoping, and I thank you both for coming on today, because if there's one parent now watching, it's, you know, it's the Easter holidays, all I'm thinking is, just listen to what you've both said and go into those phones and have that conversation, and let's just get all those things sorted out. Let's look at what apps are on there. Let's put some restrictions in, because we need to protect our children from what they can access. Absolutely.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much. Brilliant.
Thank you.
If you've been affected by anything we mentioned today, help's available via the free This Morning website. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.